somewhat better. Hello and good evening. I'm very, very sorry. I'm awfully late, as usual, delayed by other factors, but I won't go into them. It doesn't really matter, but here we are. It's a Sunday evening. I believe it's a Sunday evening. I don't know. Maybe it's, who knows? Well, wherever you are in the world, it could be whatever time it is to you. So, welcome and hello. Thank you to the one person who's here, Susie Ashenden, and hello, Beasley. Hello, hello, hello. And yes, welcome. Good welcome to Miss Marple, Paulie, and Enigma, Francis, Longman, Annie, and others. Yes, we haven't been here for a couple of days. We've had a few incidents. Unfortunately, our visiting guest did not arrive because there were 17,000 lightning strikes in England. So that was the end of that. That was the end of his flight. And he could have come back, but somebody put a stop to that. But anyway, we won't go down the path of what became, but sadly, he's now going to stay somewhere else instead. So, poor man. I would have loved to have had his company, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So, anyway, good evening to the 27 of you already here. And has the bird been playing up? Yes. Well, that little bird is a complete pain in the arse. It runs about the house. It runs in, it runs out, it runs in, it runs out. It doesn't follow the rules, I'm afraid, does the little mini Thatcher. So, well, today I don't know where it is, but it was in the street about an hour ago, but it introduced some new people who were people staying in an Airbnb. They were car dealers from England. And they saw me chasing it around the street and they thought that I was utterly mad. Yes, do we have to keep shuffling the papers over there? That's not really helpful at this stage in the program. I do apologize for the noise of shuffling of papers. So we don't really need background noise.
Okay,
She says, okay. Well,
I'll put it away.
Yes, well, we don't really need noise in the background at this stage because it's only the beginning of the program. But we're waiting for a few more of you to arrive. There are at least 40 of you here already. I do realize that I didn't appear yesterday, so probably many others have decided not to return today. And yes, so the little bird, well, it's becoming a little bit difficult, obviously, with the bird because it expects to be fed, but it wants to wander around the house. Well, it can't come in the house, so I built things to stop it coming in the house. But a certain person lets it in a different way, so it's not a very good idea. And that is why the bird has been rather carried away in its antics. So I would never have allowed it in the house in the first place. But it has now got into the house. So it now thinks the house is its domain, which is a very stupid idea. So we mustn't allow this to continue. So no more food, until you realize that you can have your food in the garden. I'll give you the food in the garden, which I do, and the water and all the rest, but you're not coming inside. It's not correct. You don't want the bird in the house. We're not like the man in Whitstable who kept the bird inside and literally turned it into his pet. I don't want a pet seagull, and I'm not interested in one. So I will not be encouraging a pet seagull. The bird can go outside and it can learn that it needs to eventually move on. So there we go. Anyway, have we any questions about another topic? Let's move on from the stupid bird. The bird is not that important, and we must talk about something else. So, right. Why do birds appear every time I'm near? Well, they just flock to me, don't they? There we go. I don't know. That's the answer to your joke. I don't know. If that's meant to be a joke, I think I gave a witty answer. Right, okay. What do I think of Iran? I think Iran needs blowing up. Blow the whole bloody place to obliteration. Get rid of it. There's no need for these Iranians to be attacking us. We don't need it. We don't need another war. We must stand firm and stand against their nonsense. I'm very anti the Iranians. Terrible, terrible situation. Israel must be protected. I stand with the Israelis, so I'm with the Israelis. So there we are. I know that many of you are pro-Palestinian, but I'm pro-Israel, so that's where I stand, and that's just how I will always be. Because I think the Palestinians have rights, but I think, as I've always said, it's Hamas who needs to be destroyed first, and Netanyahu should be in jail. Netanyahu is a bad Israeli. I don't like Netanyahu. I want him locked up. But I stand with the Israeli population because I have many Jewish friends and they are lovely, wonderful people. And I stand with them. I think Greta Thunberg is a total disgrace. I'm disgusted at her antics. The fake aid convoy she took. She should be locked up for life for what she's done. I cannot stand Thunberg. And today it was announced she had a boyfriend, some kind of posh boy she'd acquired who's some other little nitwit. Thunberg, get back in your box, you little rat. You're a disgraceful piece of toe rag. I really loathe and detest you, Greta. Grim Greta. You personify the very worst of Western liberalism. And I'm a liberal myself, I will admit. I'm not a right-wing person. I don't support Brexit. I don't support throwing out immigrants, all the rest of it. I'm actually a very liberal person, but I can't stand you, Greta. Get off my planet, you nasty little brat. You are the prodigy of a disgusting pair of parents who failed in their music careers, so used you as their little mouthpiece to try and get famous. What is wrong with your parents? You are the most boring, banal brat I've ever come across. Greta, grim Greta Thunberg. Yeah, your surname sounds like vomit. Thunberg. I'm gonna Thunberg. Ugh. That's what you are. You sound like a vomit comet. You're absolutely revolting. You make me angry and sick. You are horrible, and you've done nothing to help anybody. You did not go there to help Palestinians. You went there to get yourself back in the media because your little media circus had gone a bit quiet for a while, didn't it, love? For God's sake, you pathetic specimen. You are a load of rubbish. I speak for many people when I say this because everybody I speak to tells me the same thing. Greta, you are gruesome. You're ghastly. Go away. We don't want Greta. What do you think of Greta? Okay, audience, please, let's have a few views. You don't like Michael Barrymore. Well, that's obvious. We don't like him. Bog off, Greta. Bravo, Matthew. Thank you. How old is Greta? She's in her mid-20s now, I believe. Whatever age she is, she's just a pain in the ass. Garbo is the only Greta you ever liked. I agree with you. Thank you, Mario. Yes, you're quite ghastly, Greta. Good morning, all. You call her Fun Burger. Okay. Bog off, Greta. Right. Okay. Yes, it's Sunday. No hate. Well, there's no hate. We just don't like her. If you don't like her, if you want to support her, fair enough. I will read out a comment. Is there any of you here who support Greta Thunberg? Please. Okay, If one of you wants to offer a comment of support for Greta, please offer. She means well, says Lizzie. Okay, there we go. See, I've read it out. I am not being biased. I have just allowed a comment that is completely contrasting to all the other comments. So Lizzie M says she means well. There you go. I disagree entirely, but I'm allowing the comment. Right. She's a pain, and I think she brews trouble, says Robert. Boo hiss Greta, says Susie. She's odd looking. Her mother drank heavily while she was pregnant, says Paulie. There we go. Yeah, she does look like one of those children that is brain damaged because of her mother drinking. She's got that look, hasn't she? I totally agree with you on that one. Yeah, she's got Asperger's syndrome, same diagnosis as my son, says Leslie S. Well, I'm sorry your son is not well, but I think it's more to do with the alcohol in that case and this family. I don't think it's the same as your situation, but her middle name is Tin Tan. Okay, Tin, sorry, says Miss Marple. Well, yeah, because she's got attention-seeking parents. I don't support her, yet I'll never talk about her looks, says Carol. Okay, well, you're entitled to say whatever you want, but you don't have to talk about her looks. I just think she is ghastly and grim. And what she has done to the world is inappropriate. And this is the only thing that I have a problem with King Charles about, because King Charles should never have welcomed her into his presence. She is a menace. She's a total nuisance. She should not be welcomed anywhere. And the royal family, shame on you for having her around. I don't like it. Sorry. No. Weakest link. Goodbye. Anne Robinson and I would definitely get rid of her. You think that King Charles is a wet lettuce? Well, I don't think King Charles is that bad. But on this particular topic, he got it wrong. I can like somebody, but I can disagree with them over issues. That's how I feel about things. You know, that's called democracy. That's how the world works. So we don't have to agree on everything with everybody all the time. We can agree with people about 90% of things all the time, or 1%, whatever it is. Anyway, next question. Let's move along. I've had enough of talking about Grim Greta. I'm bored of her. Any more questions on a different topic before we begin? We've got 105 of you here, so we're nearly ready to start talking about something else. But let's have a different topic to continue. I didn't realize my program would end up evolving in this way, where I just say, well, what do you want me to talk about? I normally used to write about things and go off and talk about them, but you seem to prefer it this way. So, well, it works as a format for me. So if that's what you like, that's what you get. So, right, have we any questions? Anything new on the McCanns? As far as I'm aware, no. So I can't give you anything else poorly on that today. Where have I been? Today I had to go and try and get my telephone device fixed because my phone, the battery stopped working. That is why I didn't do anything last night, because unfortunately I had major issues with technology. But here is a wonderful story for you. This is a story you wouldn't believe. So it's Sunday. So most places that deal with technology closed. I'm pretty pissed off about other matters. So I spend the morning doing some ironing. I really do not like doing ironing, but that's what I did. And meanwhile, I kept looking at the computer device because I didn't have a phone by then, because the phone had died. The phone was totally dead. So I found that the only places I could go to were opening mostly at 1 p.m. But I found that in Sanrope there was a couple of shops down the alleyway, the alleyway we normally walk down, that were open. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I didn't want to go back to the nasty computer shop woman because, what she did last time was to ruin my computer by pouring glue all over it. Nasty woman. Anyway, so off I went. And I wander down the alleyway and I arrive at this little shop. And a man goes, "Hello, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while," he said. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Anyway, this man, I said, "Oh, hello," thinking like, I've got to prompt you. And I did. And he said, "Yeah, PJs. And I worked for you on the vodka company. I did a few nights waitering for you." And I was like, wow, you have a good memory. Because I certainly didn't. And anyway, lovely, lovely gentleman. And now he runs a mobile phone shop. He does cases. And I'm going to help him, and I'm going to help you. You'll all be able to buy some of his cases because I'm going to promote them on here. That's one thing we'll be doing because they're fabulous. He has got the best customers you could imagine on the planet. He does all sorts of different printing on these things, but he also fixes mobile phones. So he took my mobile phone and he said, "Well, come back in an hour." And we had a little chat for a while about the past. And Tony the Vodka, my friend whose son is getting married up the coast in a couple of weeks. And all those kind of things. So we had a good old chat about good old friends, and that was very nice. And I said, "Well, how long do you need with my phone?" And he said, "Well, it'll take me at least an hour." So I went away for an hour and a bit, and I sat in the local hotel bar, which is a lovely place. And I sat there and watched the boats come in and out, and I was able to use my computer to communicate, which was thankful, but the borrowed computer. And then I went back and he said, "Well, the phone, I've taken it apart. It needs a new screen. It needs this. It needs that." And I'm thinking, very expensive. I'm thinking, like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster area. And it needed a new battery and da 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 da. And he said, "But it needs a bit longer to test it." And I said, "Oh, well, I'll come back in an hour." He said, "Well, I'm closing the shop for the moment. Would you like to have lunch with me?" So off we went. We had lunch in a little restaurant where he'd been a waiter, because he was a waiter when I first met him in London. And we talked about the good old days and we had a wonderful time. Wasn't that lovely? So nice to randomly run into somebody. And then as we walked back to his shop, I said, "Well, how on earth did you achieve all of this?" And he went, "Well, I just worked hard. I began a business on the internet." See, the internet is the future of fashion and mobile phones and all the rest of it. My friend's daughter, she began a business during lockdown selling clothes made out of football things, and the Kardashians got involved in the influencers, and boom, now she's got 30 workers working for her in East London making these football outfit type clothing. The internet is the way forward. And he said the same. He said, "Most of my business is not this stupid shop." He pays 200,000 rent for the shop a year. He said, "The shop's just a front for the, just have to have a shop because it's where people can come and collect things." But he said, most of it's online orders. And, his customers are Robbie Williams, all sorts of people. So I'm going to help him get a few more famous people, the ones I know. Not that I know many famous people, but I'm going to get him a few and get them a few quotes, and he can use them, and it'll just be a good thing for him. So what a wonderful man. And he bought me lunch, and that was so generous and lovely. And tomorrow I'll go back to get the thing I need, the remaining part of the phone that's required. So the phone's turned off for now, thank God. It's actually nice not having a mobile phone. When the mobile phone stops working, you get some bloody peace. So, but how lovely to reconnect with someone from your past. I love having people around me. And I'm very sorry my friend didn't arrive because I was really looking forward to that. And that would have been an absolute joy to behold because, you know, I get lonely and I need to have intellectual conversation and any kind just stupid conversation. Um, you have to mix life up. You can't just do the same thing every day. It's very boring. But honestly, it was so lovely to spend some time with this man today. And it was totally random. And to see someone who I knew when he was a waiter working for us on a drinks. He used to serve drinks at drinks parties for us, and now has his own multi-million-dollar business. Well done to him. What a great success story. Fabulous. I salute him, and we will be promoting his business on here in due course, obviously. But I will get all the information tomorrow because I don't have all the information on the business. But I will urge you to order from him. Even Tommy Hilfiger's wife orders from him. She loves his products. So Tommy Hilfiger's wife, the leading fashion brand owner, tends to order from him. And there's obviously Robbie Williams and many others. And yeah, he does all these fancy different covers for mobile phones, but he also fixes things. And he said, well, he only did it because he couldn't get his own thing fixed, so he decided he'd work out how to fix it. And then he started a business doing it via Amazon. So starting a business on the internet is the best way forward. Everybody I know who starts on the internet, brilliant way forward. Forget about opening a shop and all the rest of it. The cost is too high. He's spending 200,000 a year on a shop just now because he can. And he said the shop doesn't really generate any money. He said the online business is the real star. So start your business on the internet. That is the best advice that could be given. So there we are. Anyway, I'm getting messages from Lady Bian Buck, my lovely friend. She is an absolute national treasure. I'm not sure what she's talking about. She says, people like you are rare. Look towards yourself for life's work. Thank you, Bian Venida. You are a star, Bian Venida. You are an absolute international treasure. We like you very much. She is somebody who should have been the mayor of Liverpool, in my view, but, maybe politics wouldn't have suited her. Maybe she's too good for politics, I'd say. So she never got round to doing that. But I love Lady Bian Venida. What a great lady. A great friend of mine. I'm very lucky to have so many wonderful friends in the world. And I thank my friend Kate yesterday, my lovely Kate from England, not the Kate from Broadstairs, the other Kate. I don't want to go into the situation, but there we are. So the Kate from Hampshire is an absolute gem. Thank you for your kind support for me yesterday. And thank you to Angelo. You've been very kind yesterday. You were very helpful yesterday. And thank you to Sean, the tailor. Thank you. You were very helpful. Lots of good people out there. So, I was very upset yesterday, and I will admit it. I'm still not exactly happy right now. But it wasn't Kate Windsor. No. There we are. No. How was the barbecue? I've not been to a barbecue, so no barbecue. No, yet, not yet. We're not allowed to do barbecues here, so there's no barbecue allowed. I would love to cook certain dishes on a barbecue. I'm into barbecues, but it's not allowed. I used to do barbecues in Broadstairs. Had wonderful times with my barbecue in Broadstairs. So I definitely did. Right, but no barbecues here. So no. Have you had a barbecue? I hope you're having a wonderful time. If you do, Barbecues aren't allowed because they don't want the place to burn down, I guess. So they don't want smoke either. I don't know. They're just a bunch of busybodies here. But the local man who the busybody who is on the committee, he has arrived tonight. So I've just had a little hello with him. And I have pointed out that the German must be dealt with for attacking the seagull, because we cannot have the mini Thatcher attacked by nasty Germans. And he agreed. So he is going to have to go to work and deal with the savior of the seagull. And I will make a point of holding him to account because he is a community representative. So I'm a very bossy person when I get going. And, he wanted our vote. And he came around here and he drank my whiskey. He drank half a bottle of it, in fact, and he was quite happy to do that. So now it's time for him to pay back. Save Mini Thatcher. We don't want the German kicking the thing in the sea. And his son said to me, "Oh, in Germany, I've seen people kick crows." I said, "Well, that's awful as well." So I don't like people attacking birds. And I said to him, "Your time is now. And your time is the time to do some work. Save the bird." So get to action, Mr. Clooney. And his name is spelled not like George Clooney. It's Cluny. So if you want to look him up, he will be listed on the local community assets page or whatever you want to call it. But it is time that he did some work and he saved little Mini Thatcher. We don't want the little bird to be kicked in the sea again by the nasty German. And we know who she is. And she kind of thinks it's all kind of funny. It's not funny to attack a little bird that's helpless. Don't ever hurt beautiful animals. As you know, when people attack beautiful animals, I take them on. So sign my petition about the sloths. We must ban the abuse of sloths by people like Tamara Eccleston in the UK. Thank you to the over 300, nearly 400 of you now who've signed in the last 24 hours. It's absolutely brilliant that we're getting so much more traction. We need to get the sloth petition going again. So I want to get to at least a couple of thousand in the next 24 hours. Come on, more sign and share and pay in a little bit of money if you can. The money doesn't go to me, it just goes to share the bloody petition. So just sign and share. Please make it happen. We must stop Tamara Eccleston keeping sloths indoors in the UK. People like her. A sloth belongs in the rainforest. Let's save the sloth. Let's do some decency for the world. There's my rant on that topic. Okay, I'm not going to go on anymore because it's boring. But anyway, that is one thing you could do that would be decent. Wake up in the morning and do something good every day. That's what I try and do. I try and help somebody. It's the best thing you can do, because if you help somebody, it does you no harm. Wake up and do something good for somebody else or something else. Help an animal, help a person. You will feel better about yourself. So instead of whinging and whining, which is what most people do every bloody day, help somebody. Because then you'll begin the day in a more positive spirit. And I think that's no bad thing. So get up in the morning, help somebody or something. Help the sloth. If you haven't helped the sloth, I say shame on you, because you should have done by now if you're watching this program. But if you're new to this program, go and sign the petition. Change.org. Ban the keeping of sloths as pets in the UK. Sign my petition, please. Thank you. I thank you all for your kind participation. Right. Well, I'm getting lots of messages from Lady Bian Vanida. And Lady Bian Vanida is a great friend. I'm very lucky to have some wonderful friends in the world. And it was wonderful today to run into somebody who I'd forgotten about, but there he was. He'd proven himself a success in life. And Isn't that a wonderful thing? The joy in life is the diversity of people you meet. I meet people who are billionaires. I meet people who are royalty. I meet people who are homeless and live with donkeys in the woods. I meet witches who happen to drive Ford Fiestas, which I've never known of a witch with a Ford Fiesta, but there we go. That was an interesting one. So, my life is spice, is the variety of life. And I hope you all have the same thing. We've got the lovely Nicola here. Yes. Nicola, hello. Yes. Lovely to have Nicola. And Hatchy. And what time do I usually wake up? I generally wake up at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. But I try to sleep a bit longer, but it doesn't really ever work. It's a disaster. I'm not very good at sleeping. Sleeping is not, as my grandfather said, you'll sleep when you're dead. I think that's probably correct in my case, because I'm just rubbish at sleeping. I don't find sleeping very easy, and I have terrible nightmares and visions about awful things, and I do struggle with sleeping. Sleeping is not for me. It's a very terrible thing when you've been through all sorts of incidents, and those incidents don't help. And when you're in a certain environment, things don't help either. But anyway, we won't go there. But do I enjoy an afternoon siesta? No, I sadly don't. No, it never happens. I'd love to be able to do that, because I thought that might be the solution, but I've tried and it never works because I never feel tired in the afternoon. So it doesn't work. Once I'm awake, I'm awake. That's the end of it. Can I turn the adverts off? I don't know what adverts you're getting on, so I have no idea. Don't know. Don't know anything about it. So no, can't deal with that. Right. Okay. Have I seen some mini cows? There's a ranch in Texas that breeds them. No, haven't seen them. I don't know. Sorry, I can't help you on that story, Leslie S. But right. Did I see Nadia Sawala moaning about loose women and saying it was all men and that stopped it? Nope, didn't see it. Right. The mini cows are only a few inches smaller than their normal size counterparts. They're cute, but people keep finding them as pets on their own. No fields for grazing. I'm afraid to say I don't know anything about this, so you'll have to send me a link if you wish to. Editorial at thesteepletimes.com. You're very welcome to send me more information. I can't talk about this anymore because I don't know anything about it. So, what on earth happened to the Air India crash? Again, well, I don't think it's wise to speculate theories about something where we don't know what happened. All manner of things could have happened, from a bird flying into the thing to something else, or, we'll see. But I don't know. So I'm not going to speculate any further about that because I'm not an aviation expert. I don't know anything about what happened to that aeroplane. It's the first Dreamliner to have crashed. So one has to say, it's all very odd, but it could be as simple as a bird smashing into it. It could be much more complicated. We will see. But I'm not going to comment on something I know nothing about. So it's best I keep out of the matter. Okay, thank you. Next question. Something else? I'm getting more messages from Lady Bian Vanita. But anyway, I'll read those later. Right, okay. People were taking selfies on the plane. Anyway, I think I don't want to talk any more about this plane because it's not correct that I talk about it because I don't have any knowledge. I don't have anything to add to the story other than to say my condolences to the poor innocent victims who died on that plane. Poor people. And as for the one lucky man who got off, well, I've had all sorts of theories sent about that. So we're not going down that rabbit hole quite yet, but I believe he was just a very lucky man. But the people who I've spoken with, they've all said to me, mm-mm, mm-mm, something weird about this. I don't agree with them, but we will see. Let's see what happens about his story. Let's see what the truth and the fiction is. But I do believe he was just a lucky man who got thrown out. You know, my grandfather's brother was in the Munich air disaster with the Man United players. His name was Peter Howard. Peter Howard was the sports person for the Daily Express, and he got thrown out into the snow. So he actually got evicted. It is a different setting, smaller plane, snow, different environment, but he got thrown out into the snow and he went back in and he rescued people from the plane. And he was a hero. We've talked about this on here before. Peter Howard was a hero. So people can get out of a plane crash and survive. And I have to say, I have a story from my own family. So I'm giving you an example. So I know a little bit about this. And he was a hero because he went back in and he dragged out other people. And that's why he was honored for the work he did that day. It was a terrible thing to be part of. But so this man, but he doesn't remember what happened. He just remembers he got out of the plane. Anyway, we don't know what happened. We will learn what happened. But I'm glad that the man survived. That's all we need to say at this stage. We should say, thank God one person survived. Thank you, God. That's a good thing. It's better than 0 people surviving. It's sad that all the rest died, and the people from Ramsgate and the others, and who that we've read about, but there's lots of others that haven't even been mentioned. Nobody should have died. It's just a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. So I will say, I don't know what the truth of that matter is, of that story. Don't know what's next, but we will see. Time will tell. Okay, next question. Matthew for Prime Minister says, you've sent me lots of fish fingers. Well, I don't know how you can have sent me lots of fish fingers, but it's very kind of you if you have. But I love fish fingers, and I've only got 3 left. So, yes, if fish fingers are on the way, I'll happily consume them. But I don't think you have my address. Do I speak French? No. The poor captain and crew, they knew they were going down. Well, that is a risk you take if you go into the world of aviation, but it's very, very sad. I totally agree with you. Leslie S. says, great for 1 sandwich. Well, I normally eat 2 sandwiches at a time, but anyway, if I have to have 1, I'll have 1. There we go. Why has Kitty been keeping a low profile lately? Is he on his last legs? Kitty will be doing the rounds probably in the autumn for his calendar, because he'll be back on the calendar circuit. And no doubt Inglorious Hunniford will be doing the rounds with him on Loose Women. Kitty is just a complete pain in the arse, isn't he? His cheap wine, his horrible... Nobody wanted to buy his vineyard, so his vineyard's still for sale. Nobody wanted to buy his villa in Barbados because it's probably just hideous, just like him. I don't know what Kitty's up to. He's probably gone on a summer holiday, hasn't he? We're all going on a summer holiday, as he says. I don't know. Wherever he is, may he rot in hell when he goes, because he's just the most disgusting person, this old Kitty. Can't stand Kitty. So there we go. You need 4 fish fingers per sandwich. Well, not here, because we get the American bread here, and the American bread isn't as big as British bread. So it will only take 3, basically. So there we go. Right. Kitty might appear at Wimbledon, says David. Yes, it could be possible. He might sing if it rains, but he'll make it rain more. He's like that awful singer who said "Rain, rain, rain" or whatever it was, and it rained all summer. I forget her name. What was the name of the singer? There's a quiz question. I can't even remember her name, but she was very annoying, and she sang about umbrella, umbrella, the umbrella woman. Umbrella, umbrella, umbrella. Well, I don't know. Can you please start being an agony aunt or uncle? And you'd like to ask me about a dilemma, asks Amanda. Okay, well, what's your dilemma, Amanda? Let's have your dilemma, and I can try and analyze it if you so wish. I don't think I'll be very good at this, but you can give me a 2-sentence summary. That would be helpful. And we'll come back to Amanda on her dilemma. Okay, is Cliff still alive? As far as I'm aware, yes. I don't know. I've never heard it. His death hasn't been remarked on yet. I don't think he'll be missed. My mother and Bill Gates were, two people who I've spoken to about him, and they're not great fans, for example. Let's be honest. I've spoken with a fair few people on the planet about Kitty, Cliffy Richard. Nobody likes Cliff. Awful. Bad man. The Sila statue. Oh, well, I don't like anything to do with Sila Black. I think Sila Black is a toxic, bad person who is an apologist for Kitty, Cliffy, whatever you want to call them. So there we go. It's no wonder that, her grave was desecrated because of her association with that awful man. And the funeral video I have played to everybody who I ever meet who is equally shocked. If I had the link right now, I would send it to you all. But Cliff Richard at Sila Black's funeral, shocking behavior. Awful. You don't like Bill Gates, okay? Well, Bill Gates is a very good man, and he's done a lot of good for the world. And I have no problem with Bill Gates because he helped my family. So he's been a very good person to me and my family. So I will not have a bad word said against the man who has done so much good for the world. And you're entitled not to like him. Of course, he's Mr. Evil and all the rest of it, and you know your views. Look, we all have the right to agree to disagree. So if you don't like him, fair enough. But I'm not going to attack somebody who has done something. I'm not going to go into personal matters because it's not my place to talk about my sister's affairs and what things that happened and how somebody helped. That's all I shall say. So put a sock in it. Leave him alone on my channel. If you want to talk about Bill Gates, go and talk about Bill Gates somewhere else. Thank you. Leave him alone. Okay. It's just I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy. Leave that to other chat. I know all these channels love to go on about how he's evil and he's the big monster, he's buying all the farmland and he's controlling the world. Well, go on about Elon Musk then. Go on about somebody else. Go on about all the rest of these people. But you always pick on him. So there we go. Miss Marple has gone to another level. I don't know what that means. And it's gone to a green level. Thank you, Miss Marple. I'm not quite sure what that means. But anyway, we hope to meet you shortly, Miss Marple, in real life, because it would be great to have you around in real person. Amanda's problem, so she wants me to analyze her problem, is I like a guy I always see at my local pub. We exchanged numbers, we agreed to make a date, and he has done nothing yet now. And again, he gives me nice texts. Should I just give up? Well, I think this man might be leading you along. He might not be genuine. And I would say the best thing you can do is give him the cold shoulder. And if he really wants to be in contact, he'll come back again, won't he? So my advice is ignore him for now. That's the agony uncle in me. I've never ever tried to be an agony uncle in all my life. Okay, lady men. Lady men. Oi,
No.
wake up.
Oh.
Right. You're going to be asked to be the agony aunt now. Right. So Amanda has a problem. She asked my advice. I've given the advice. We're going to ask Lady Min her advice. Right. She says, my dilemma is I like a guy I always see at my local pub. We exchanged numbers. We agreed to make a date, and he's done nothing. Yet now and again he gives me nice texts. Should I just give up? What do you think Amanda should do? Should Amanda Right, she thinks that you should get rid of him. I said wait and see if he responds. She just goes get rid of him. My advice is see if he responds and then give him an ultimatum. That's what I would say. So anyway, her advice is get rid of him. So we're not actually favoring you keeping this man, Amanda. We think you can do better elsewhere. So look out for a better gentleman who is actually going to treat you like the lady that you deserve to be, Amanda, because you're obviously a lovely lady and we think you deserve better. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, so we think you deserve better. So, in fact, get rid is the overall advice. Don't keep him back. Is that okay? Does that help? I'm not meaning to be an agony aunt. I'm not Richard Maidley, and she's not Rachel Johnson, because they do a joint column in the Telegraph. Two awful people who are absolutely ghastly. Amanda says thank you. Well, Amanda, we just care that you're happy. We want you to be happy. And our advice to Amanda is get rid, move on. You can do better, love. So out the door. Get rid of this bastard. He sounds like no more trouble. Any more problems for my attention, says Linz. Anybody else? You want to ask me a question and give me a bit of advice? I wasn't planning on being the agony uncle, but oh God, I don't want to be Richard Maidley. Please don't make me like this. But for one night only, I can ask. Right. TMTB says, don't be afraid of rejection. Ask him directly. Right. Expialidocious says he deserves it. Get rid of him. Right. Richard Maidley was eating insects on TV the other day, and he said they were nice. I did witness Richard Maidley eating insects on the television. Mr. Maidley is just an attention-seeking piece of rubbish. You know, he's very good at lifting champagne bottles as well, isn't he? You know, good old champagne lifter, Richard Maidley, the man who said to
dyeing his hair, putting on makeup.
Yeah, we've got shouting in the background. We don't need. Please, no shouting.
Ugly.
Please don't shout on my channel. It doesn't help. Right. Okay. She's joining in now, but you know she's welcome to join in from time to time, but we don't need shouting all the time. So please, silence is a golden word. It would be better to not have shouting in the background, especially as I haven't done a program in 2 days. Right. 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 Have you any more agony uncle questions? Right. Before we go on, if the little bird is making a racket in the background, the little bird is out of control. It's becoming a bit of a nuisance. So I don't know when it's coming back, but it won't be coming inside tonight because it's barred from coming inside because, quite frankly, the mess it made when it did come inside, encouraged by somebody other than me, I think you can guess who, I have to clean it up. So I don't need to have to clean up that on top of everything else. Right. You're just a normal working class woman, says Janna. Well, if you want to visit somewhere, you can go anywhere in the world. There are campsites. There's all sorts of different ways of visiting a place. Um, you can go to the best places in the world and just still visit on the cheap. There's plenty of ways to visit anywhere. So I hope you find a way to visit wherever you want to go. That's my advice to you. Okay. You don't need, you can go anywhere on a budget. I remember when I was at university, one of my granny's friends from America wrote a book. It was called London on £5 a day. And it was about how you could go to the best places for £5 a day. Obviously, it was written in the 1990s. So £5 was actually quite a lot of money. But all these Americans swore by this book. It was the best thing, and they could go everywhere, and they could actually have, afternoon tea or whatever they wanted, or, whatever they were into. So, no, you can do everything. There's a wonderful guy who I know of. I don't know that. I've never met him in person. And I shouldn't use the word guy. I'm not American. But anyway, he is a guy in my view, because he's more, I don't think he's English. But he wrote a book about how to cook meals for £1. His name is Miguel Barklay. I urge you to buy his book, because you can cook a meal for £1 for 4 people. It's a fabulous thing. All these people who sit around moaning and groaning, I can't feed my children. And then all they do is buy processed crap. Go out there and buy Miguel Barklay's book and learn about how you can make a bolognese that could last you for 4 weeks. Freeze a bit of it, do a bit of this, cook it all in batch cooking. That is a great way of survival. And, or make something else, something simple. Go and buy the yellow stickered goods is what I do. I love a yellow sticker, as you all know. I'm the king of a yellow sticker myself. Even Richard Tice, chairman of the Reform Party, now, well, he's no longer chairman, I don't think. He's an MP, but I don't know what his role is. But anyway, I've spotted him in the Waitrose Belgravia buying yellow stickered salmon. So yeah, even rat bag millionaires like him buy a bit of a yellow sticker. But I love a yellow sticker. But you can make simple dishes. I love a fish finger sandwich, as you all know. You just buy a big box of fish fingers. It's better to buy the big box, because if you buy a small box, it costs a lot more. Don't go to stupid small shops. Go to a bigger shop where you get a discount. All that kind of thing. Go at the end of the day when you get a discount. Discounts. Always look out for the discounts. You can live on a budget. So I'm very sorry. I can't remember who it was that was complaining that food is very expensive, but there's a few ideas for you. I hope that helped. So, who is my favorite celebrity chef? I don't have favorites in any department, but obviously I love Marco. And today I had lunch with my friend who used to work for Marco. So, Marco was our topic of the day. So, I miss Marco. I really do miss Marco, and I miss Mr. Vichy, his driver. Mr. Vichy used to be so much fun to spend time with. And Luciano, his son, the other children, completely mad, but it's all a very sad state of affairs. And equally, my love to Matty. I know Matty's a bit crazy as well, but Matty, you've suffered also. So I love you, Matty, as well. I love you, Marco. I love you, Luciano. Mini Marco, you need to pull yourself together and get real. And as for the other two, well, I don't know much about them, so I won't go down that route. Okay, what did I think of Keith Floyd? Well, of course, I loved Keith Floyd. I never met Keith Floyd. I was very unlucky. I could have met Keith Floyd once. I was invited to meet Keith Floyd, and I couldn't be there, so I failed. And what a wonderful guy. What a fabulous gent, cooked with wine. And obviously, the Matt, the guy from the television, bought his car. So he drives around in his 2CV. So we love Keith Floyd as much as I loved Jacques Pepin, the American chef, who cooked for about 8 or 9 presidents, and I was on set with him. It was the first time I was in San Francisco, and I sat next to the lovely Martha Stewart, and I didn't have a clue who this man was. I was just taken to a dinner party on a set, and I was told, "You're having dinner on a TV set," and it was all filmed. And she just got out of jail for a stupid offence she shouldn't have been put in jail for. Shame on the American justice system for locking up her because she's a genius. A woman who came from a trailer park who's changed the world. She is a brilliant person. She's the opposite of Oprah Winfrey, Oprah whinge bag, great supporter of Meghan and Megan and all that. So I love Martha Stewart. I'm a big fan of Martha, and I love Keith Floyd, and I love Jack Papan. And obviously there was the lovely Julia Child, who introduced French cooking to America. I would have loved to have met her. I never met her, but what a great lady she was. And, there's my friend Keith McNally, who's been causing all sorts of storms on Twitter. In fact, I don't know where is my stupid telephone device? My phone will not be fixed until tomorrow, but if I can find my phone device, where have I put it? Clearly lost. Oh, it's here. If I turn it on, I can read you his thing about some naughty activities in his restaurant. Well, I don't think it's going to turn on, so we'll have to save that for another day. Forget about that. Anyway, James Martin owns Keith Floyd's car. Quite correct. Yes, James Martin is not someone I know, never met him, but he's a fun guy, lovely guy. So absolutely fabulous. Right. You think I look healthy and wealthy? Well, I'm not wealthy, but I'm trying to be healthy, but I don't think I'm very well because I've lost 3 stone weight. So I've been weighed today, and that wasn't a very positive thing. I have lost an awful lot of weight, and I think we know why I have, but there we are. Right, okay. Pig loves me. Okay, I don't know who Pig is. Well, hello, Pig, whoever you are, but it's nice that you loved me, but I don't know who you are, and I'm sure you love somebody else more than me, so I hope you have a lovely time with whoever you really love, because you can't really love me because you've never met me, so that's a little impossible. Which British castles do I like? In Scotland, I love the Dornoch Castle. That's a lovely place to visit. If you ever have time, visit Dornoch, the Earl of Sutherland's home. Where else? The various castles of Derbyshire, perhaps. Lancaster Castle, of course. I lived next to Lancaster Castle during my parents' divorce and before I went to university. My mother bought a house for me and my sister so we could be near our school, and we lived in this beautiful Georgian house next to it. And of course, King Charles was visiting Lancaster Castle only the other day, and he had some very nice cheese there. So Lancaster Castle used to be a prison, and of course the Pendle witches were burnt. They were sentenced to death, the Pendle witches, which was a terrible tragedy because these women were told, if we throw you in the river and you can float, then it's an appalling thing. So there we go. Anyway, I've just had a very strange message come in, but I'll deal with that later. It kind of explains problems that have been caused in the last 24 hours. So there we go. That's very unfortunate. So yes, Lancaster Castle. Right, it's Dunrobin Castle in Scotland, not Dornoch. It's near Dornoch, yes. Dunrobin Castle. You're quite correct. I stand corrected. Yes. Haven't been there since I was a child, so There we go. Do I miss London? Yes, from time to time. I love things in London. Yes, London's a lovely place. Right. Amanda says it takes its toll. You've been there. Well, precisely. I think you understand, Amanda. Thank you. There we go. The court in Liverpool. Well, I don't know. I don't know about the court in Liverpool. I've never been there to that court, so I don't know it. I know Westminster Magistrates Court quite well. I know the Court of Appeal quite well. I know various other courts quite well. I go to a fair few courts from time to time. The Royal Courts of Justice on the Strand, etc., etc. Right. Okay. Well, I'm getting messages about another matter, and I'll have to deal with those later. Okay. What do I think about Sir David Beckham? Well, David Beckham has done a lot of good for charity, and but he's also done a lot of good for tax. He's had a nice taxing time, hasn't he? He's made a lot of money for himself. So he was deemed unsuitable in the past. So why was he deemed suitable now? So I'm not a great fan of David Beckham in that sense, but look, overall, the man has done plenty of good for the world. I think his wife is going to lord it over the world, having that title. It's more for her than him, and he's blue-nosed himself up the greasy poles to get her what she wants, because that's what she wants. Let's be honest. It's what Victoria wants, Victoria gets, and obviously with his bad behavior with other women in the past, it's payback time. So if he had to go beekeeping and doing a bit of gardening and whatever to try and keep King Charles on his side and make him his friend, and well, he had to do it, didn't he? That's how I see it. I think it just sums up the honours system. The honours system is a waste of time, complete waste of time. They honour the wrong people. Why don't you honour somebody who, saved somebody from being run over on a road? That would be more useful. Or somebody who invented a drug that stopped people from dying or something. Give it to somebody who's actually useful. We don't need to, let's give an award to, some actress who's, well, yeah, she's been an actress. She's made a fortune. She doesn't deserve an award. Give it to the old lady who stopped someone from being run over on the road. That would be a nice thing to do, I would say. Obviously, there are such awards, but I really don't see the need to give David Beckham an award. And he doesn't need to be a Sir David Beckham for his antics in football, which weren't exactly that great. There we are. But anyway, each to their own. Fair enough. You find my voice very relaxing, says Pig. It's very kind of you to say. You've been listening to my chats with Sean Atwood to make you relax, and I'm making you very relaxed. Well, I don't know why I'd make you relaxed, but there we are. Right, okay. Leslie says I should be narrating audiobooks as a side gig. Well, I don't know if I could be very good at such a thing, but it'd be nice to read. I like reading, and I love reading, and I could read aloud. I could easily do that. Miss Marple says you think that David Beckham was awarded for his work for UNICEF for 20 years. Well, yeah. Well, we can all get up in the morning and offer to help a charity. I've been involved in charities for most of my life also, but do I get an award? I don't want one. Never asked for one, don't need one. For God's sake, what does he actually really do? Let's be honest, not much. David Beckham and Victoria Beckham get up in the morning and think about how we're going to make more money. That's what people like them do. They're not they're not about anything other than themselves. And as for their stupid children, I'm really bored of hearing about the little family feud. It's tedious, it's boring, and it's time to stop. Shove it up your jumper, you stupid family. Bog off. Put them on the Bibby Stockholm. Get rid of them. I can't stand the Beckhams. Out. Next. Okay. Right, that's my view on the Beckhams. No more on them. Did I have a favourite book as a child? I don't do favourites. I keep telling you this. But of course, I grew up with, my lovely Offer Ransom, of course, who I'm very connected to. And of course, I loved Swallows and Amazons, Enid Blyton, Roald Dahl, all the politically incorrect authors, Agatha Christie. Of course, Agatha Christie was a great influence on mine because I was very into criminality and naughty things. And I loved watching a bit of Miss Marple, even with Margaret Thatcher. I watched a bit of that and, a bit of whiskey. And I'd so love a whiskey right now. If only I had a whiskey. I'd be so much happier with a whiskey in my hand. I've got a bit of white wine, but I just fancy a whiskey right now. I just feel the need for a bit of Miss Marple. I'd like to watch another. I don't know. I watched Bertram's Hotel the other day. I'd like to watch another one of those before I go to sleep, so I will. In fact, I don't know which one. YouTube is a very good way of watching television programs, so I'll be watching Joan Hickson, Miss Marple, before I go to bed. Okay, Nancy Drew. No. Have I read War and Peace? I've never read War and Peace, but I know what it is, but I haven't read it. Whiskey Galore, says Miss Perfect. I've watched Whiskey Galore in various forms. There are multiple television versions. I've watched 2 at least. I can't say I'm a fan. You loved the famous 5, the Richmal Crompton. Of course, just William. Yes. Well, I read all of those as a child. Of course, Richmal Crompton, lovely author, lovely and delightful. You like Biggles. You like Mr. Men. You like War and Peace. Excellent book. Pig Pick says I have a bottle of Dewars to share. Well, it's not with me right now, so I'm saying cheers to you with a glass of white wine because I don't have any Dewars whiskey in front of me. I don't mind a bit of famous grouse, but I love all the Highland malts and the Islay scotches and all the rest. So I'm a fan of all sorts of whiskey. I've visited many Scottish distilleries. I love Scotland. Scotland is in. I'm not Scottish, but I wish I were, because I love Scotland. I think Scotland is the best part of the United Kingdom because the Scottish have a better way of life. They have whiskey, and whiskey means the water of life. That says it all. And they have lovely things like Cranachan, which is a dish with raspberries and oats and cream and whiskey, and you have that.
I love Wales.
She loves Wales, but she doesn't realise that the Scottish actually live a better life. The Scottish live the best life with their Cranachan
Cool.
and the grouse and the haggis and all the wonderful things they eat. They have much better food, and the Welsh don't have anything of any note of food. Welsh food is, well, totally lacking. But anyway, I wish the Welsh well, but they're not really very good at food. Right, okay, next say. What is the next question? Would I consider doing my DNA? No, I don't want to do my DNA. I'm not really into that. I know who I am, and I'm just myself. But you can do your DNA, but I don't want to bother. Right. Dixie is also Scottish. Right. You would like me to read you a book, a few chapters at a time, and then you'll vote. Oh, well, I don't know if that would really work. I don't know how that could be done. That would be a little impossible. I think you'd be find me very boring, and you don't really want me reading you a book. I'm sure there are plenty more people on the planet who can read a book better than me. Here we go. We're getting the noisy birds coming in. We've got Keith and Penelope making noise in the background now. I don't know what became of little Minnie Thatcher, but Minnie Thatcher has been a very naughty bird today and has wandered off. But Minnie Thatcher did introduce us to some bizarre people who happen to be car dealers who just come as an Airbnb. So they came and had a drink, and well, there we go. It was nice to have them. So we met some new people. It's in life, spice is the variety. And as my grandmother always said, meet new friends, but make new friends, but keep the old. The new are silver, the old are gold. Always remember that in the way you deal with people. Keep your old friends, because your old friends are the ones that matter. And one of my old friends who made a huge mistake and upset me hugely in December made an apology to me today. And I thought that was very respectable. And I accepted with grace his apology. So there we go. Forgiveness is also a good quality. One must always forgive. You don't need to go to war with everybody forever. There are things that are unforgivable. And there are certain people who've upset me in the last 24 hours, and I'm currently at war with them. And that woman, whoever she may be, I'm not going to be forgiving her, because she's just a loudmouth bag. And the messages I've been getting whilst this program is going on are most unpleasant. And shame on the two people that have caused that to happen. And I'm not very happy about it. But I've forgiven somebody else, but the other person, I just don't want to ever see that person ever again. Foghorn. The foghorn can bog off. So there won't be any much forgiveness for the foghorn. And as for the other person who got herself involved in this matter, I hope she learns her lesson. And that is very important to me, because I will not be tolerating any further abuse of that type from anybody.
You're talking about me.
I'm talking about whoever I wish to talk about, and you can be quiet. You're not to get involved. Right. You'd like to share some mini cheddars and some whiskey. Well, I'd like to have some mini cheddars, because I haven't had it in a while. I miss my mini cheddars. I did talk about fish fingers on Radio 4 the other day, briefly, when I sent something in, but they didn't bring it up. But I'd love a bit of fish fingers, and I love a bit of mini cheddars. So there we go. Anyway, people are hurling abuse. Yeah, well, there's a fair few of them out there. But I won't be tolerating any abuse from anybody. I have to get my life back together. I must get myself back to being me. I've lost too much weight. I'm too stressed, and I must get my life back. And that is very important. And this weekend has been a lesson, because I thought I was going to have a lovely weekend with my friend, and well, it all got ruined. So there we go. So it's time to move on and think about me above anybody else. I don't need to be wasting my time focusing on other people, because I've been drained enough. So many of my friends have had terrible things happen to them, and they've ended up dead. I don't want to be the next one. I must focus on me. And I know that sounds selfish and horrible, but you've got to give yourself some me time in life, because if you don't, you'll end up dead. You'll end up brown bread. And I can't do it much more of being put through the mill that I've been put through, I have to think about me. And everybody has told me who I've spoken with, and I spent a lot of time yesterday speaking with all sorts of people from different walks of life, and they said, "You're ill. You've been made to become ill by the situation that you've been put in. Get your life back. Get yourself back to being you." And I must do it. And I'm sorry to bore on, but I must. I have to speak to somebody. And I'm going to say this here and now, so all of these people hear it. Thank you very much to my lovely friend Kate, my lovely friend Sean, my lovely friend Nav, and my friend Alexis, and all the others who kindly spoke with me yesterday. You saved my life because I couldn't cope. I was on the edge. It's terrible when you get to this stage and you need a good friend. And Angelo, thank you. You were brilliant. You were absolutely wonderful. Absolutely. All of you were wonderful. So you came through when I needed you, you lot. So you were wonderful. Thank you. And to the lovely people who I sat with in the bar, who I don't really know their names. A couple of people I went in afterwards. It's necessary sometimes to have a breakdown to get through something, and well, I did. And I can admit when things break down in my life, it becomes a mess. And you're all very, very kind. And thank you to all of you. And I'm sorry I didn't make a program in the last couple of days, because obviously one day I was meant to be going to the airport, and yesterday, well, there was no way of making anything because it was just a very depressing day. So I thank you all. You've all been great supporters, and a breakdown is a breakthrough. Yeah, I totally agree. I need to have some peace, and that's what I need in my life. I don't know what happens next, but we will see in the next few hours. So we'll figure it out. I don't know where I'll be, but I don't know what's happening, and we will work it out. So there we are. Be true to yourself, precisely. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. You find it heartbreaking to witness this in real time. Well, I'm prepared to be honest. I've been driven to sheer destruction, and I know why, and I know exactly why, and everyone has said why. You cannot live like this forever in a situation which is untenable, and it is untenable. So it wears you out, and when you don't have sleep and you're having to deal with awful things every day, and you're vomiting and because of awful things, and it all adds up, and it just becomes horrible. And then you don't have any friends, and all I wanted was my friend to come, and well, that didn't happen, and then well, that caused a further breakdown. So and now he's not coming anyway, so that's the end of that. And he's been sending messages about the real reason he's not coming, because obviously a certain shit-stirring woman has now said all sorts of things to the local community. So that's not very nice in the background. So thank you very much to you, whoever you are. I know full well who you are. Encouraged by somebody who's sitting in next to me, which is not very nice. So I'm very upset about all of that. I'm extremely upset. But that's what these people do. They like to stir the pot and wreck my life. And well, I've tried to help people, and all I get in return is this. It's not very nice. So I'm worn out. Yep, I will admit it. Totally worn out. So anyway, you want me to name and shame? Well, I'm not going to do that yet. I will name and shame these horrible people in due course, because quite frankly, nobody should treat me badly. I know we should treat anybody badly, but that's what they want. They want the publicity. They just want a row. Well, they can fuck off. Shove themselves up their fucking jumper. I don't like nasty people. And people who are bullies to me, shove off. Get your ass out of my building. That's what I say. I don't need you in my life. And I will not forget. I will not forgive. That is for sure. I will never forgive what's happened this weekend because it's been a horrible, horrible situation. So, awful people. So there we go. My love to you all. Yes, precisely. I'd rather send love than hate. I totally agree. I wish you all well. But you're all kind people. But don't send any of these people back to me ever again. I don't want to ever, ever have anything to do with that particular woman for a start. She is a disgrace. Awful, awful woman. She's the worst. But I don't like people ringing up my friends and saying nasty things either. And somebody here needs to know that. So there we go. Forgive, but don't forget. No, I will never forget. No, I will never forget what people do to me that is hurtful. And there's no need to forgive people who do bad things to you. Forget it. I'm not going to forgive. Forget it. Right. Okay. Anyway, lots of good people in the world, much better people. I salute the good people, all right? I don't need the nasty ones, and I will never, ever forgive what's gone on this weekend. It's untenable. No. Awful. No. Definitely not. No. It's called ignorance. It's not called ignorance. It's called nastiness, actually. Forget the word ignorance. Ignorance is a totally irrelevant word to this situation. Nastiness is a thing that some people have in their hearts. And I don't like people who are nasty. So go away. But I will be getting my life back, and that's what I want. So there we are. And after what I've just received in messages, I'm very upset. Yes, I totally agree. I'm more angry now than I was earlier before I even read the messages because I didn't know the extra detail I've just been sent. So I'm very upset. Right. You're all here for me. Well, that's very kind. Thank you. I wish you all well, and I hope you're all having a good time. Right. There's 185 of you here. And I think it's probably time we did a quiz because I think it's we didn't even get on to Bonnie Blue. Now, Bonnie Blue, let's deal with her before. Bonnie Blue, you know, the sex mad woman. I was meant to read it off the screen of my iPhone, so I can't because I can't turn the damn thing on. Well, I can, but I don't really want to because it'll die of no power. Bonnie Blue, you know, the sex mad woman, you know, slept with 1,057 men in one day in Portland Place at the home of Lord Eddie Davenport, who is not really a lord. Anyway, allegedly, Bonnie Blue isn't a woman. She might be a transsexual or whatever you call her. She could be a man. So all these silly little men that thought they were sleeping with a woman slept with a man. Oh dear. Whether it's true or not, who only knows? But it's the internet rumor that's doing the rounds. You know, there's been 188 complaints to Ofcom as a result of her appearing on This Morning. Well, This Morning would do better to not have people like Bonnie Blue, who's also known as Kyle Butler and Tia, whatever her name is. Why would you have this horrible little slag on your channel? A woman who slept with 1,057 men in less than 24 hours. That's disgusting. She is a pig. She's not a human. She's not a human. She's a subhuman. She's a specimen of disgrace. I'm not Mary Whitehouse. You know, if you want to frolic, Do whatever you want to do. Go and have sex in a field. Go and have sex on the aeroplane. Join the Mile High Club. Whatever you want to do. But 1,057 men in less than 24 hours. That makes you the village bike. It doesn't make you someone to be lauded. You're a walking sexual disease, you revolting piece of toe rag. Absolutely revolting. She supposedly had a sex change at 13. What a sordid individual you are. What sordid people your parents are. Your mother is your biggest promoter, allegedly. Well, she's a filthy piece of whore as well, isn't she? Disgusting and revolting. Bonnie Blue should be thrown on the Bibby Stockholm, and she should be hosed down with something that gets rid of all those sexual diseases. She is sickening, and she's revolting, and she's rotten, and she's wrong. If a man did this and went on loose women, you would condemn the man, wouldn't you? But no, this Bonnie Blue, she gets away with it, doesn't she? Because, she's a little girl. Well, it turns out she might not be a little girl. So throw Bonnie Blue down the loo, says Min. I say chuck her down the lav and flush it repeatedly, because it'll take a lot of effort to get rid of the stains that will be left by that dirty little slapper. She is disgusting and wrong. If a man behaved like that, he would be called disgusting and profligate and all sorts of things. But no, she can get away with it because she's an Instagram influencer. Allegedly, she has been banned from Instagram for her naughty behavior. But enough is enough. Why should she be making money out of behaving like a slag? She is the village bike. 1,057 men in 24 hours. And who are they? Their parents should be ashamed of themselves as well. As I said about the Tapas 7 with the McCanns, all of them should have been arrested. Every single one of them. Prosecute the whole bloody lot of them for leaving their children unattended. Prosecute every one of these 1,057 men for hanging around with this dirty old village bike. And now it turns out the village bike might not have been a girl. It might have been a boy. So, well, all those Muslim boys out there who joined in with her, oh dear, I don't think you'll be going to heaven or wherever you go because you've broken your laws. Naughty boys. So you're definitely in trouble, aren't you? I don't like Bonnie Blue. I think Bonnie Blue, I'm not Mary Whitehouse. I have no qualms about saying, if you want to have, a relationship with a man and a woman and a man and a woman at the same time or whatever, get on with it. You do what you ever want. But you don't sleep with 1,057 people in one day and think that's acceptable. That is a way of spreading disease. That is disgusting. It's repugnant. It's morally wrong. And quite frankly, looking at that thing, why on earth? What did they have goggles on, the whole lot of them? There's nothing appealing about this ugly-looking creature. It's a revolting, dirty, diseased person who then went off to a place in South America and went after 18-year-old children and said, I'll sleep with a number of how I can sleep with the most 18-year-olds or whatever. Well, it must be completely diseased. It's physically impossible to achieve this nonsense. So it's a pack of lies. It's a deceiver. And this Bonnie Blue, this morning, shame on you for giving it publicity. The more publicity it gets, the more money it makes. So you're all you're just as bad. Shame on the lot of them. Right. Okay. What do you think? You can't stand it, okay? Shame on every man who queued up. Yep, totally agree with you. Well said, Dixie. The goggles on made you laugh, says Gemini. Well, you'd have to be blind to go near that thing, wouldn't you? It doesn't exactly look, it's not exactly a looker. It looks more like a bloody hooker. It's absolutely appalling. Makes Katie Price look like a novice. Katie Price, Katie Vice, but Katie Price does not even do that. She does not go around shagging 1,057 people in less than 24 hours. It's disgusting. For it to be physically possible, it would have each one would have had to lasted 10 seconds. That's impossible. It's just not. How did they move them in and out? The physical possibility. The whole thing's a bloody lie. She's a complete fraud. She's a crook. She's not Cynthia Payne. You know, there are people in the world who've, done things with sex, and Cynthia Payne got involved with politicians and naughty things. But there's lots of people who've done that kind of thing. But it didn't involve 1,057 men in less than 24 hours. It can't be possible. It's a pack of lies. So why do the media fall for this nonsense? It's just Barry bullshit, isn't it? So there we are. Right, okay. It was the conveyor belt. There was no conveyor belt. It was just a bunch of men queuing up in a stupid house that belonged to this dreadful Eddie Davenport, who's an ex-con himself. He's a dreadful piece of toe rag in Portland Place near the BBC. He did this to get publicity, and she did this to get publicity, and so did they all. You heard that there were fluffers to get things going, and then the men did the deed in the last second of filth. Well, I don't know. You could be right, Joyce, but whatever it was, it's a load of lies. The whole thing is nonsense. She doesn't deserve a record for anything other than being slag of the century, the village bike of the epoch. That's all she should be known for. Bonnie Blue, Bonnie the bike, Bonnie bog off. Get back on your bike, Bonnie, and take Bonnie Blue to the loo. That's where you belong, because you're a walking sexual disease. You're a revolting piece of toe rag. Anyway, that's enough about her. But I was just so disgusted to read all these things, and then everybody said, well, it turns out that she may have had a sex change aged 13. Well, I don't think all those men were planning on sleeping with a transsexual. So now they all look very stupid, and many of them were photographs. So name and shame. I say name and shame the whole of them. Let's have the list of the 1,057 men who slept with Bonnie Blue, who might not actually be a woman. That would be nice. Let's make a fool of the whole lot of you, because you are a bunch of pricks, aren't you? You're a complete bunch of complete tosspots. So you made a fool of yourself. You thought you were being clever by breaking a record, by being the man one of the men who slept with the woman who slept with the most people in a day. Well, now the joke's on you, isn't it? So let's name and shame the whole lot of you. Let's get the names of every single one of Bonnie Blue's little boys. Bonnie Blue, who might not be really Bonnie, but might be Kyle, in fact. Kyle was his real name, allegedly. So the 1,057 who slept with Kyle, thinking it was a woman when it was actually a man. So let's name and shame the lot of you. Let's have you named and shamed. Come on, let's be. They're peculiar people. Jules B says they hope they all sue her. Well, no. They're a bunch of idiots. They shouldn't sue her. They chose to go and join in a stupid, revolting sexual experiment to break a record. They get what they deserve. Stupid idiots. They're just as foolish as she is. Why would you want to go and sleep with somebody who slept with 1,056 others? Do you want to get a disease? Are you mentally unhinged? Were you born in a barn? Were you born in the funny farm? What's wrong with you, you stupid idiots? Name and shame the whole lot of them. Every single one of them should be named. I don't care about the Epstein list because that's a load of old rot. I already know everything about that. Let's name and shame the Bonnie Blue list. Let's have Bonnie Blue's list named and shamed. I think we should name all of those men and say, you are the biggest Burke on the planet. And you are too. And you. And you, and you, and you, and you, and you. It sounds like whatever that program was. Anyway, I'd like to name and shame the whole lot of them. You're a bunch of fools. You were taken for a ride. Well, you got a ride. It lasted all of 10 seconds, but, well, look what it did to your reputation, you stupid people. I hope you never get a girlfriend again, you stupid men, because you're an absolute fool. You're a tool and a twat. Get you out of here. We don't like people like you because you are disgusting, you're revolting, and you're wrong. You're rotten. And I'm going to carry on with my nasty words. I don't care because I think you are horrible people. So name and shame. Right. Okay. Sloppy seconds, precisely. Well, sloppy 1,050 seconds in many cases. In the last case, can you imagine having her? What a dirty person! Awful. But you bet Cliff Richard wasn't involved. Well, no, he prefers the other angle. Let's be honest. Cliff Richard is into the other angle. So there we go. Right. Okay. Yes. Well, anyway, we'll move along to the next part of the topic before we have a quiz. We're nearly ready for a quiz, so let's carry on. And yes, you don't. Okay, have we got some more comments? You thought Farmer Harmer was in the queue. I do apologize for the noises in the background. I'm very sorry. The Farmer Harmer was allegedly involved. Well, I don't think the Farmer Harmer, I don't think it was in his department, was it really? So, no, I don't agree about him. You thought Nora Batty was there. Well, Nora Batty, the actress who played her, died many years ago. So, no, she wasn't there. No, so that's completely incorrect. Jim will fix it. No, Jimmy Savile has been dead a number of years. So, Jimmy Savile will not be there either. So, right. Okay, we're moving along to the next part of the story. Okay, so... Right. Okay. What do we have next? Any questions on a different topic? So we've dealt with Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue is somebody we don't like. So Bonnie Blue is going to be joining the horrible people on the Bibby Stockholm. Right. Okay. Well, we don't need any more about Bonnie Blue. I'm sorry about the noises in the background. I can't do anything about it. This is the problem of my life. And I did request not flushing the lavatory, but we have to have a bit of noise in the background, don't we? So there we go. It will make noise. What do I think of Rowan Atkinson? Well, our housekeeper did crash her car into Rowan Atkinson's McLaren F1, and she was more concerned about her Mini Metro. So that's my only ever dealing with Rowan Atkinson. I did point out to Mrs. Lane that the Mini Metro was quite insignificant compared to the McLaren F1. And then the same car was subsequently crashed again by him. Um,
Oh,
I'm sorry for the noise. I do apologize. You know, I try to make my programs as peaceful as ever. I'm not doing anything, as you can see. I am a very quiet, peaceful person. I'm doing my program and I'm getting noises in the background. There's nothing to do with me when the noises are made. So
some mosquitoes. The doors are all open, man.
now I'm getting screaming about mosquitoes. That's the latest thing. Well, the doors have to be open, the doors have to be closed, the doors have to be open, the doors have to be closed. Anyway, I'm moving along. I'm trying to do my program, and that is more important. Anyway, I was trying to talk about Mrs. Lane, who crashed into the McLaren F1, and no, she couldn't accept that it was her fault. And stupid woman. Well, Mrs. Lane was a very silly woman. And once her husband Donald won a fax machine. He wrote a letter to the Daily Mail, and I said, I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I said, he was a bin man, and I said, Donald, you've won a fax machine. I said, it's not really very useful to you.
Thank you.
And I said, don't go on about it. I said, get rid of it. You can sell it on the internet or something. Get rid of it. I'm getting shouting in the background. It's
Have a glass of wine, please.
you know, my program is being ruined yet again. She wants wine. I have to go and get her wine. Now I have to
You've got a
open.
bottle there.
I haven't. It's empty.
Well, I'll get it.
I have to open another bottle. We can wait 10 minutes until I've finished my quiz. Honestly, I can't even do my program in peace. This is the problem. This is why I have to leave. I cannot live like this anymore. I cannot, you know, in continual interruptions of my programs, it's not correct. I poured 2 glasses of wine for her. She's drunk the 2 glasses. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. I have to now get up and interrupt my program to open a bottle of wine because the corkscrew is broken and we're too mean to go to the supermarket to get a new corkscrew. You know, it's just ridiculous. Unbelievable. So I'm very, very sorry. I'm going to have to pause for one moment. I'm going to quickly go and open a bottle of wine to keep said person quiet whilst my program is yet again interrupted. I will be back as soon as I can, but it will take me a minute or two. So please wait and chat amongst yourselves. Precisely. Thank you, Miss Marple. I do apologize, but I will be back.
Should I just go to bed?
Just shut up. Wrecking my program. Right. Hello again. I'm very, very, very sorry. You know, as usual, interrupted. Program interrupted. I'm very sorry. It's just impossible. I can't do my work. I need my life back, and that is what I have to do, which is why I'm going to be traveling soon. So I need to get my life back. Thankfully, I got my mobile phone semi-fixed. I've told you the story of how. Tomorrow it will be 100% fixed when I go back, so that's good. And yeah, I have to get my life back because I can't be doing this. I have to do this properly. I have to be professional and decent, not with interruptions. I don't need to be interrupted by someone saying, I want a glass of wine. Well, pour yourself a glass of wine. It's not fair. It's absolutely wrong to have your program ruined. So I'm very sorry. Right. You want me to shut the door? No, I don't want to shut the door. I don't need to shut the door. Have I got a new laptop yet? No, because the person who was going to bring it didn't come. So we got him to get that arranged. And now he's gone on holiday somewhere else. So that's the end of that situation. So that's been wrecked as well. So on top of everything else, that situation has been wrecked. So yeah, and thank you to the nasty little gossip that has been rung up, who's been a horrible person and said nasty things about me. So thank you to her. And it's not very nice to have nasty people say nasty things about you. So I will remember. Don't you worry. I'm coming for the whole lot of you nasty people who've been rude about me. I will not have any of that. And certain people who are sitting here, well, I'm very upset with what they've done, and I've now learned more, and I'm very, very, very upset. So that's absolutely appalling, awful. So, right, I'm not having a very good week. No, I will admit I've not had a very good week. My enjoyment was taken away. I was going to have a nice time, ruined. So never mind. I'm unappreciated. Did I ever meet Jim Bowen? Of course, I met Jim Bowen because Jim Bowen lived in the village where we were involved in all sorts of things. So of course, Jim Bowen was a dear friend and a lovely man. And Jim was Mr. Bullseye, and I loved Bullseye, and I loved Jim Bowen. So I miss Jim very much. He was such a great man. He began his career as a head teacher at a school, and then of course he became a television personality. Bit of Bullseye, much better show than Sila Black and her ghastly blind date and all that crap. And bit of Bullseye. It provided great entertainment for the nation. Everybody loved it. Sila Black, all she did was make people miserable because they were never happy with one another. So what a stupid idea for a show that was. A load of crap. I loved Jim Bowen. I couldn't stand Sila Black. So there we go. Cheers to Jim Bowen, an absolutely great gentleman. It's time you got your self-preservation. Don't worry, I'm working on it. I had to get my phone fixed today. That was unfortunately important because without a phone that works, I didn't realize you couldn't do much because bank accounts are all controlled by phones. I tried to log into accounts from the internet this morning on the computer when the phone didn't work. It said, we're sending a code to your phone. If no phone, no code. We are totally reliant as a society on phones. So I had to get it fixed. I realized the disaster was the phone. It's horrible, isn't it? Why should we be reliant on telephones? But telephones are the evil thing in our society. I can't stand them. But anyway, this man got it fixed, and I had a lovely lunch with him also. So anyway, it was nice to see an old friend. So a friendly face was very welcome. Amanda is sending me a hug. Well, that's very kind. I send you a hug back. Lovely of you, Amanda, and to the rest of you. And Yes, God forbid you change your number, lose your phone, and get a new SIM card. Oh, well, then you're bloody fucked, aren't you? You're totally without anything. No, I just realized when I gave him the phone, I said, what time should I come back? And then I said to him, unfortunately, I don't know what time it is right now. But unfortunately, I'd brought the computer. So when I sat in the hotel bar, I was able to look at the clock on the computer because it logged into their Wi-Fi. But I realized one is better off having a watch. So I must get a watch. The next thing in my life must be a watch. I don't want an expensive watch because I don't want to be mugged. And I can't afford an expensive watch because I'm a poor person and I don't have expensive watches. But I have had expensive watches in the past when I've been given them by my grandparents and all the rest. But I don't want an expensive watch. But I just like I would like a Swatch watch. That's what I shall next get. Something like that, something simple. But one needs a watch because one must know the time. So there we go. Swatch watch is a good idea. Precisely, says Linz. I will have a Swatch watch.
I want one too.
The Blue Nomad says, I never cared for the time. Well, time is not really important. Time is only for the middle classes, is one thing I've always said. Time doesn't really matter, but if you have an appointment, you must not be late. I don't do being late. And in the current situation I've been in, I'm always late for everything because I get delayed by circumstance. And it's not very nice because I don't approve of being late. So why should I be late? And it's very it's unacceptable in 1984, and it's definitely unacceptable still in 2025. So I don't approve of people being late. No. Right. Lois says, Lynn's, I love the Swatch watches. I've had a fair few over the years, but I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. I've had very expensive watches and they've also vanished as well. So I don't have any watches right now. Sunglasses, umbrellas, and watches, the easiest things to lose. But watches are the most expensive things to lose if you buy good ones. So I've been through that little charade, and it's better off avoiding any further. A Kuwaiti Royal gave me a very expensive watch for my 21st birthday, and I was mugged for that in Hyde Park, so that put me off very expensive watches. And sadly, it wasn't even insured, which was a stupid idea. You must insure your items. I think that's a good idea because I've become a cropper on that on a number of items. I would suggest if you have very expensive items, insure them. But I wasn't exactly anticipating being robbed in the middle of Hyde Park at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and nobody helping me, other than one taxi driver who drove me back to Mayfair after I'd been to the Chelsea police station to the Cipriani restaurant. And I said, well, I'm very sorry. I'll get my friend to come out and pay the bill because I had no money. I had no keys to my house. They'd taken my keys to my house. He took everything. All this man did was stink. He was a big black guy who stunk. And the taxi driver said, mate, don't worry about it. He said, you are the victim of crime. He said, I'm helping you. I thought, what a hero. And I would, if you're out there, I'd like to pay your fare. Please contact me because I've said this many times. That man, I still owe you a taxi fare, and I'd like to pay the taxi fare, but I had nothing. And I walked into the restaurant and I said to my friends, go out and pay him, and he'd gone. He purposely did not want anything. He was a kind-hearted soul. And there are good people out there on this planet, and that's what we must remind everyone of, is the wonderful people who help you when you get a problem. because there are people. In Hyde Park, when I was being attacked, and I then had to walk all the way to the Chelsea police station, which was quite a way, with no keys to my house, which was next to Harvey Nichols. At the time, I lived in a flat next to Harvey Nichols. I had to walk further than that to the police station. And the people in the park, they just walked by. They didn't want to be involved. Okay, maybe they didn't want to get stabbed, but they could have just stopped. And they could have said, "Are you okay?" That's what I would have done. I'd have stopped. I've helped people who have been in adversity in the past. You don't leave somebody who's being persecuted to suffer. And that's what happened to me with that situation. So it proved to me that London is actually a very soulless city, a very uncaring place. And, well, I didn't like it. So, but the taxi driver restored my faith in humanity, because I came out of the police station and I stopped the taxi man and I said, "I'm very late. I'm going to this place." I said, "When we get there, my friends will come out and pay because I know they're there, but I don't have a mobile phone because it's been stolen. I don't have money because it's been stolen. I don't have a bank card because it's been stolen. I don't have keys to my house because it's been stolen." Thankfully, later in the evening, I got keys to the house because I knew how to get them. But he just went, "Fine, get in." You wouldn't get that from an Uber driver. Uber drivers don't behave in that fashion. They would just say, "Fuck off, get out of my car." They wouldn't care, would they? Because they'd want the next fare, because all they get is dollar, dollar, dollar. It's all on the app. They go, "You're not on the app, so you're not getting in." At least the black cab driver is a decent person. And that's why, the lovely Barbara Minto, who I've talked about many times, she will not go in an Uber car because she says the black cab driver is the more honest man, and she supports the black cab driver. So I'm with her on that primarily. Obviously, these Uber drivers deserve an income and a life, but they don't help people when they're in distress, and distress is a very strange thing. I've been through a bit of distress in my life. I've experienced being kidnapped, as I've told you on a number of occasions. That was a horrible thing that happened to me. I've seen awful things happen, and I deal with a lot of people who are suffering adversity. So, I know about bad things, but that man was a kind taxi driver. So if you're ever out there and I don't know if you're watching, you probably never will. It's a bit like Radio 4's on Saturday Live. They try and find somebody. If you're out there, get in touch, because I'd love to take you out for lunch to say thank you, because you were very, very kind. And it's about time I paid you back, because you were very, very generous that night and you helped me. So I owe you big time. So whoever you are, I say I salute you. Yes, he was a good man, the Blue Nomad, precisely. Lots of you are saying nice things about him. Thank you. You've had some bad happenings in taxis, says Flabby. Nice is bad for crime, says the Blue Nomad. Well, I'm not in Nice currently, so I did have my passport stolen there, so that wasn't very nice. That was a bit of a drama, but that was a couple of years ago. Right, okay. You don't like the driverless cars. Totally agree with you. I think driverless cars are a stupid idea. It's rather like a horseless carriage, isn't it, really? Got to feed your cat. Okay, well, enjoy feeding your cat. You think Marseille is the worst. I don't like Marseille. I don't want to ever go to Marseille ever again. Horrible place. Absolute dump. Disgusting. I was very terrified of sitting there. I thought I was going to get stabbed. It was a horrible place. You were in Notting Hill. The atmosphere was great and friendly, says Annabella. Okay, well, Parts of Notting Hill are absolutely delightful, but parts of Notting Hill are pretty rough. There we are. Have I ever been to Amsterdam? I've been to the Netherlands, but not to Amsterdam specifically. No, I had to go and get our chocolate liqueur that we used to sell, blessed to be kosher D by a rabbi, and I had to go and accompany him to the place it was made. So there we are. So that was my visit to Amsterdam, the Netherlands. He got a bag of cash, and he was very happy. So probably didn't give it to the church. Probably took it home with him. But I had to go and give it to him because that's the only way he would do they would give the kosher D certification. I became an expert on kosher drink making. So I do know a lot about kosher drinks, but there we are. So, right. Okay. Have I ever smoked a spliff? Nope, never smoked a spliff. I'm not into drugs, never taken cocaine. I don't want my nose to fall off. My friend's nose did fall off. Obviously, Daniela Westbrook's nose fell off. I'm going to move the light down. That's probably a bit better. Maybe I don't look quite as bad. I'm looking increasingly like Donald Trump on crack, but I have got a thinner face than Donald, so I'm sorry about all the wrinkles. I'm obviously getting very old and worn out, so yeah, well, we all know why that is. So I'm not looking the greatest, but I'm having a bit of a glow. And right, okay. You think I need to use moisturizer? Oh, well, I don't know anything about moisturizer, and I don't think it's for me. But there we go. Danielle was beautiful. She now looks horrible, the poor woman, says Wits End. I don't know Danielle, but I believe she's acquired a new boyfriend, and I wish her well because lots of my friends are actually friends with Danielle, and she's never done any harm to me. She's not as bad as Katie Price. She's certainly not as bad as Jodie Marsh. So give Danielle a break. She's certainly not as bad as Kerry Katona. She's a real old piece of rubbish. All those nasty people of that type. Right. Okay, right. Are we ready for a quiz? I say yes. We're at 2 hours exactly, so it's time for a quiz. Are you ready for a quiz? You watched my video on Madeleine McCann, says Alfie's mum. I have to tell you, it was first class. It was really good. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I just gave a few opinions, and I spoke for about an hour with other people, and I made some comments, and they played some videos, and well, I don't think it adds much to the narrative. As I said all along, I've been talking about this for many years. I don't think there's anything new to add. The only thing new to add should be the latest revelation should be, which it's not yet, should be we are closing down the investigation into Operation Grange. We are no longer going further with an investigation into the missing Madeleine McCann. £13.5 million has been wasted on a pointless search for a child that will never be found. Why don't we reallocate the resources to other searches? Now is the time to say enough is enough. I want. She's shouting, "Pay it back." We can't pay it back because they don't. It wasn't them that paid. They didn't pay. They didn't give the money. It was the British public, the taxpayer. It was given by the state. Now it is time that we started using the 100,000. That's given now and again to the McCanns to find, there are 75,000 people who go missing every year. Many people are found within hours, days, weeks, obviously. Many do not get found. Let's give the money that was given to the McCanns search to find X, Y, or Z. I don't care whether it's X, Y, or Z. Any of them. We don't need to give any more money to search for the little girl with the wonky eye. Because the little girl with the wonky eye died. The Sun offered a reward of £2.5 million. Criminals, they're not loyal to anyone. As I said on that program, a criminal will trade in another criminal. A £2.5 million reward. The girl with the wonky eye would have been found.
Don't say that. Nice.
I will not listen to the person shouting me in the background.
It's not nice.
Shut up!
About this child.
The girl with the wonky eye will not be found, and I will not have anyone in the background ruining my program. Stop ruining my program.
It's rude to say that about a little girl.
She's totally wrong. The distinguishing feature is the wonky eye. The wonky eye defines the child. You would have found this child. If this child could have been found, it would have been found. It will not be found because 18 years have passed. The fake woman, Julia Wandelt, who claims to be Madeleine McCann, she's not Madeleine McCann. The American girl who claims to be Madeleine McCann is not Madeleine McCann. And I will not be told to shut up by people in the background. This is my program. This is my program, and you'll be quiet. Please shut up.
Sty in her eye. You can't say.
No, shut up. This lady is in the background. Is ruining my program yet again.
She's a lovely little girl.
This is why I'm leaving. I will be going on a plane on Tuesday now because I cannot deal with this anymore. My program cannot be ruined a moment more. I've had enough. I cannot stand a moment more of my program being ruined by someone who doesn't have any knowledge of this case. I am the expert on this case. I don't think she knows a single thing about it. I have to get away from the person shouting in the background. She promised she would behave herself. Yet again, ruining my program. This is why I'm depressed. This is why my life has been ruined. I have someone shouting at me all the time, wrecking my program. I can't do it anymore. And now you're witnessing my mental breakdown live on television. This is what has been done to me. My program has yet again been ruined by someone shouting in the background. It's not fair. I can't continue to make programs when I have somebody interrupting who actually has no knowledge on the topic and talks a load of old rot and has been told to be quiet in the background. I don't need shouting from anybody. This is not an audience participation program. This is not question time. It's not for other people to join in. You know, if I want you to join in, I'll ask you to join in. But this woman will not shut her mouth, and I that's it. Right. So again, this is the end. So, well, she's just signaled the reason I have to get on with leaving. So, you know, there we are. Wrecked my program yet again. I apologize, viewers. It's just ruined again. My whole program ruined yet again tonight. I'm very upset, and I really can't cope with any more of this. My program is meant to be about me talking to you, and then we ask a few questions, not some loudmouth crazy woman shouting in the background and talking a load of horse shit. And that is exactly what she's just done. So this is why I have to probably end the program soon. I can't do the program when I've got this because I can't focus. It's disgusting what has just been done to my program, wrecking my program yet again. You're enjoying it. Okay. Well, you enjoy the comedy of it. Yes, precisely. You think it's a comedy. It's not a comedy to deal with missing people and murder and death. So I don't think it's funny myself. And I don't think it's funny to have some idiot shouting in the background who talks a load of horse shit. So, sorry, no. And that is why I will be leaving this country in the next 24 hours, because that's what I must do. I've got to get my life back because I've lost the plot. I'm depressed and I've lost 3 stone in weight and my life has been wrecked. So it's time to go. I'm not having any more of this abuse from people in the background because, this is meant to be my work and this person is ruining my work. It's not correct. I can't deal with any more of it. It's absolutely appalling. I'm disgusted. All I asked was quiet, and she promised to be quiet, and she's already, behaved extremely badly with her latest comment, which was totally incorrect. So, no, I won't be tolerating abuse anymore from anybody. I will get my life back, and I'm going to get my life back on track. That's what I must do. You don't deserve this rubbish, precisely. I don't. No.
I told you I should have gone to bed.
Oh, now she's saying I should have gone to bed. Well, I don't care. Shut up and get out of my program. I don't need you on my program. Be quiet. Right. Okay. Well, I'm very, very sorry. I find this very disappointing. It's just, I can't even make one single program without it being ruined by her shouting. Even in the daytime, it's ruined by, "Where are ya? I want wine." It's all just shouting all the time, ruining everything. This is not what it is. It's not some comedy value. I'm talking about things that are serious, and it's not meant to be turned into a comedy act. And that's all that ever happens. So I'm very, very sorry. I just hate doing this. I don't want to do it anymore, to be honest. I want to give up on the whole thing because it's ruined. It's been absolutely ruined for me. I don't enjoy it because I never know when I have to shut up. The other day when I was doing it, I'm at the bar, come and get me, all this. It's just enough. I'm worn out. I'm totally worn out. I am totally destroyed, and I think you know why. So you've experienced me having a mental breakdown on live television. There you go. I cannot cope with any more of this. And this has just been yet another example of why I can't cope anymore. I'm very, very sorry. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Yeah, precisely. I'm not a slave. Why should I be treated like a slave? And that's what I am. That's what I'm treated like. You need a break. Well, I do. I need to get away. I have to get myself out of this situation because I'm going mentally. I can't deal with any more of it. It's just wearing me down. And you've heard what happens. It's horrible. There is no need for abuse in the background. I specifically said, don't make comments. It's not fair to have people wrecking things you're doing. But they don't really care. And if they don't care, it shows what their character is, doesn't it? They don't actually care at all about you. They just, you love my show. Well, that's very kind of you to say, Andrew. Thank you. And it's time for you to leave, precisely, says Wits End. Well, I will be leaving, so that's definitely what's happening. Keeley says, you say it, but you won't do it. Well, there comes a deadline. And I have been investigating the ways, so don't worry. It can't go on. Precisely. Thank you, Jane. It can't go on. This can't go on. No, I need my life back. I need some friends. And I was even banned from having my friends here, which is disgusting. That's the most appalling thing that was done. That is, and then ringing up my friends and being very nasty. That was very vicious. That was very horrible. And ringing the foghorn of the local town where I used to live. That was a really nasty, cheap move. And ringing my friend who I work with from the Daily Mail was a real lowbrow thing to do, and I'm disgusted by that.
It's a nice boat. Look at this.
And now she's shouting in the background, "Oh, it's a nice boat."
It's a green boat.
All she talks about is what she wants to talk about. So you can hear her. There we go. I need people my own age. Yes, I do. I need people who I can actually have a civil conversation with, not be bullied by. And I just need my life back. So anyway, enough is enough of that. I'm going to give you a quiz, and then I'm going to say thank you very much.
Wine, please.
Now she just wants more wine. Have you heard this? This woman has just insulted me, been rude to me, and now she wants more wine. See, I'm a slave. I'm a dog. That is the way I'm treated in this disgusting situation. More wine. This is not correct. Why can't I do my work and wait for your bloody wine? No. It's always more wine.
Well, I'll go to bed.
Have you heard anything so rude ever in your life? Just say no.
Probably say
Give her more wine. She's so drunk she needs it. Precisely. Yes, well, they think you're totally drunk.
probably got it right.
You've had 4 glasses of bloody wine since the... Now be quiet. I don't want any more interruption of my program. I'm very, very sorry to you viewers. I apologize. I am at the end of my tether with this mad woman. I cannot cope with any more of this. She's had another glass. That's the 5th glass she's had since we came back here. This is the 5th glass since we came back here. This is enough. Yes, I need to get away from it. Precisely. Give her a vat. Precisely. That's probably a better idea. Let her drink herself to death.
Oh.
Right. Anyway, you think it's a dangerous situation. No, this is just normal. This is just the end of the day with her. That's what she does at the end of the day. It begins at 6 a.m.
Oh, no, not quite.
This is how it is.
Are we talking about you or me?
Shut up and leave me alone. Don't you ruin my program anymore. I've had it with her. Anyway, I shall be leaving tomorrow or on Tuesday because I can't cope with any more of this. She is being even more vicious than she normally is. So I will be getting an aeroplane. That is the plan because I cannot forgive or forget anymore. It's too much. My life is... I felt like killing myself yesterday. That's how far she drove me. She drove me over the edge. I went for a 15-mile walk to think about things. And, I never ever felt like killing myself before. But I felt I've had enough. I hate life.
But why?
And now she's shouting in the background again. She should shut her mouth. Shut up and keep out of my problems. This woman has no respect. This is what she does.
Talking about me.
How dare she? She has no respect for anybody, and then she interrupts. It's totally morally incorrect. I can't deal with much more of this. I'm better off on my own, precisely. I need to be on my own, precisely. I need to get away from this situation, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing it. I've got to get this phone fixed, and then on Tuesday it's time to go. I've realized this now. I don't think there's any way back from this situation because she's just now again insulted again. And I've had messages whilst I've been doing this program from people who she's been rude to about me. So yeah, thank you very much for your kind support. You've all been lovely, and thank you to the kind people who've actually told me the truth about what messages she has left being abusive about me to other people, because now I've learnt even more people have received messages. So it's not just four people, there are multiple people. So I'm very disgusted at the way I've been treated. So no, I don't want to forgive and I don't want to forget. I want to move on, and I will be moving on with my life, and that's what I'm going to do. I will not forgive or forget the nastiness I've just experienced, and it was completely wrong. So there we are. Right. Yeah. With friends like that, precisely. Yeah. Totally agree with you. I'd like to have real people around me, not trash, not bullies, not people who treat me like dirt. I'm not a dog and I'm not a slave, precisely. And I should not have to put up with that. Nobody in the world should ever have to put up with being bullied. And I've been bullied. And I've had enough of this. So there we go. It's time for you to take time for yourself. You've heard it, and you heard the shouting in the background, precisely. Yep, I've heard the shouting. There we go. There we go. Where are your friends to help you? Well, they were meant to be coming, but of course they got banned. So that was the end of that. My friends were banned, so now they're not coming. And of course, she's achieved what she wanted to achieve because they're going somewhere else on holiday now, and they don't want to come here because they don't want to be treated like dirt. And that was very nasty. So my friendships have been ruined yet again. I'm the one that suffers in all of this. So no, I will not forgive and I won't forget. So don't worry. Anyway, I'll be going on my merry way, and that's the end of that. So yeah. Yeah, poor friends. Well, toxicity, yes, good analysis. Bagpuss, I'll say. I won't read out your comment because it'll only provoke, but you're quite correct. I agree with you. Your words are the most wise I've read yet. I can't say much because obviously someone's in the background, so I can't really read out what I can't really give you what I think. So anyway, let's move along and forget about this, and we'll do this quiz, and then I'm going to the bed, and then I'll arrange my exit. That's my plan. So I'm not going to be bullied anymore, but I can't leave until I have to go and deal with this thing tomorrow. So I can't leave until Tuesday, but I don't want any more of this. And I really have had enough. I will not be bullied anymore by anybody. I'm not the weakest link. And now we're getting all this noise just to try and make a scene and try and wreck the program a little bit more, which is what always happens. Let's wreck his program. That is the plan. That is always what happens. So here we are. Make some noise. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. Oh, I'm ill or whatever. It'll be another pack of lies. So let's just have the sneezing fit and wreck his program. Here you go. You can hear it all in the background. It's all coming up.
Sneezing.
It's all a good little part of her little show to try and wreck my program. No respect, no decency. You can sneeze. One can sneeze quietly if one wishes. One doesn't have to make a racket. But of course she does, because all she wants to do is destroy my program. It's not very kind, is it, viewers? It's very unpleasant. It's very unnecessary, and it's time to get out of here. Yes. The noise has to be made and escalated. Oh, there'll be a bit more in a moment. Don't worry. Wait for the moment. Wait for the next one. Yes. For Lord's sake, tell her to shut up. Precisely. Well said, wise angel. You're a wise person. There we go. Here it comes again. A bit more noise. Well, go to bed.
I've got to get up the stairs.
Well, go and get yourself up the stairs. This is an abusive relationship. Precisely. She's abusing me. Precisely. Exactly. Well said. It's awful. No, I don't need to be treated like a slave. I'm not a dog, and I will not be treated badly. And you can all see live on television my mental breakdown as a result of what has happened to me. And everybody has seen this repeatedly. I've never been anything other than polite and kind, and I try. And this lady is just wanting to ruin my TV program, and it's not fair. This is a program where I'm meant to be doing my work, and we're not meant to be talking about her. I'm not interested in her and her sneezing and coughing and burping and farting and whatever else. That's of no relevance to you. We're meant to talk about crime. We're meant to talk about political things, social commentary, do a bit of a quiz. Not any of this. And then it always gets ruined by this. Now, on a couple of occasions, it might be a bit of a comedy act. It's not a comedy act. I can tell you that. It's not a comedy act for me because my life has been ruined. Yesterday, I contemplated throwing myself in a river. I was so depressed. I walked for 15 miles. I was very unhappy. I'd had enough. Enough is enough. You reach a point with somebody like this who has no respect and treats you like a slave and a dog, and it's disgusting. I came here for 2 weeks, and I've been here for months. I just want to go. And then my phone didn't work. Well, then I couldn't book a ticket. So I had to get the phone to work, and at least I met the lovely man with the phone. So he's going to fix that, the rest of it tomorrow, and then, well, it's time to go. I can't, I said to her today, I brought her 2 bottles of wine. They were drunk. Then I got more because some people came round. And then it's get more wine. Get more wine. It's never, excuse me, I paid for the wine. And it's never please. The word please is never used. And it's disgusting that people don't use the word please. I cannot stand people who don't have manners. A lack of manners is an appalling thing. And anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter about all of that. But I don't need to be treated like a dog. I'm not a slave. And that is the...
I like dogs.
You can hear her in the background. She thinks it's acceptable to treat someone like a dog or a slave. There you go. She loves dogs and she loves slaves. And that's why her daughter's going to bring a black person to England and treat him like a slave, which is disgusting. That's another example of her awful behavior. You don't treat people like slaves. It's disgusting. We're not in the 17th century. That's revolting. It's an appalling thing to do. It's shocking and it's morally wrong. So
if he wants to come, he can come.
So there you go. She thinks it's acceptable to have a slave. There you go. She's into slavery. She's into slavery. So that's an appalling thing. I think that is disgusting and it's wrong. There you are. Yes, he is from South Africa, and yes, he will be treated like a slave. So there you go. That is an appalling thing to do, giving, well, where's the work permit? So be warned, when he arrives there, let's have that investigated.
He's lovely. We love him as part of the family.
Oh, he's lovely, she says. The slave. She loves having a black slave. That is not a nice thing to do, is it?
It's not a black slave. He's part of my family.
He's nothing to do with her family. He's a black person who happens to work for somebody else.
What? I love black people.
Yep, and she doesn't like Indians. She doesn't like.
Them to test them.
There you go. Here comes the racism. Yep.
Indians. God.
Here you go. She hates the Indians. Here you go. She's letting out her racism on the channel. So there you go. I'm exposing her for what she is.
I can't deal with.
Indians she can't deal with, she says. Now, that is an example of racism. Shame on her. So anyway, liars, thieves, rogues, and whatever she's coming out with.
Live under the bed.
Shut up.
Kill their grandmother for sixpence.
Kill their grandmother for sixpence, she claims. What a nasty woman, hey? What a nasty, vicious racist. That is racism at your height. That is, now she has exposed herself for what she truly is. She's telling a pack of lies, of course.
Just because you love them.
She generalizes about everybody, and then she and her dirty daughter take a black person and use him as a slave. That is really nice, isn't it? Really quality thing to do. I don't approve of that. I think that is more like racist. That is the worst kind of racism. Abuse of poor black people. That's slavery. That is vile and revolting and wrong. So there's the real racist.
Get rid of Indians out of England.
Here we go. She's shouting and she's drunk.
Indians, get them
Shut up and stop ruining my program. So I've just told her to be quiet. I've had enough. I can't take any more of her. So I'm going to do my quiz, and then I'm going to end this program because I've had enough. And then I'm going to go and deal with my problems, and then I'll be getting out of this place because I've had enough. I cannot take a moment more of this racism. It's an absolute disgrace, and I will never, ever forgive what has just been said, because that is an appalling abuse of humanity, and it's not my views. I don't speak for that kind of terrible intolerance. I find we should be tolerant in the world, and we should be accepting and generous of spirit, not vicious and unkind. Well, this particular person is vile and vicious.
Oh my God.
So I don't want any more to do with that person ever again.
It's fine.
And that's the end of the matter. So
go and live in Packland.
You can hear her shouting her nastiness in the background. What an evil woman. She has ruined my program yet again. Every time I do my program and she's present, she wrecks it. She takes great delight in destroying my career. She doesn't want me to be happy. She doesn't want me to do anything. She doesn't want me to. She wants to wreck everything. She is obsessed. She's obsessed to the point of evil with destruction of me. She doesn't like anybody having their own view. It has to be interrupted by her viciousness. She has not a decent soul, decent bone in her body. She has no kindness, and she is interrupting, and she is boring. She's tedious. I don't want her in my background. She is yawn-inducing. She's a tedious fucking pain in the ass. It's about time she put a fucking sock in it. I've heard enough from this wicked old bag. She's not pleasant, and enough is enough. I've heard enough. I don't want to have her interrupting. If she doesn't like it, don't listen. Go away. Go and shove yourself up your own fucking jumper, you stupid woman. You are boring. You are tedious. Nobody cares about your nasty old bigoted opinions. You are the most awful, ghastly, bigoted old bag on the planet. Go away. Get out of my room. That's how I feel. So there we go. And that's how I feel. So I have to get it out of my system. This is why yesterday I went on a walk and I nearly killed myself, because this woman has made me depressed. I'm worn out by this nasty. You've just heard it. The racism, the bigotry, the hate. It's horrible. It's horrible to be around. I can't cope with any more of it. It's horrible. She's made me ill. I've lost 3 stone in weight. I'm depressed. Every one of my friends said, you are very ill because of this mad woman. She has made you ill. And it's entirely no, this woman has made me, and she's trying to make out, oh, it's nothing to do with her. Oh, it happened long before. No, they've all witnessed it, and you've all witnessed it. So it's not down to anyone other than her. She is a nasty piece of toe rag. She's not worth it. Get rid of her. Precisely. No one wants to hear about her. She's boring. Get you out of there. It's not good. Get away from her. Precisely. Yeah, cut her off. Precisely. I want rid of her and I will be gone. And that's what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I had to fix this damn phone. Otherwise, I would have been out of here tomorrow morning.
Is that fireworks or thunder?
And now she's moaning about the fireworks because she doesn't like them. There's fireworks in the background. Oh, nothing makes her happy. All she ever wants is moaning. Everything has to be a moan. I believe there's some kind of special day today because there were all these people parading around, and now's a load of fireworks. So I don't know if you can hear her. There we are. Don't let anyone control your life. Precisely. Thank you.
Where's the bird? I don't want him frightened of the fireworks.
She doesn't want the bird frightened. This is what she's now coming out with. This is, what I get. I don't get, I'm sorry for being horrible. I get, I care about the bird. It's ridiculous. No, I need to get my life back. Yep, precisely. And I will. So anyway, I'll give you a quiz. Let's move on to that.
No, can I have another glass of wine, please?
Have you heard this? She wants more wine now.
Well, but this is a very small glass.
Can you believe?
I can go and get it myself.
Go and get it yourself.
Well,
have you heard this?
Yeah, he heard it.
She guzzled that quick, didn't she? Again, all she does is drink. And she had a glass of wine 10 minutes ago. She's drunk the whole lot.
It's a very small glass.
It's not a very small glass at all. And this is what I get. This is the bullying I have to endure. She wants to ruin my program every night. All she cares about is getting pissed. So I'll go and give her a glass of wine. I'll give her the fucking bottle. She can have the fucking bottle and then she can get herself pissed and then do what she wants. Drink herself to death. Have the whole bottle. There you are. Have the whole bottle. I'm very, very sorry, viewers. I've never, ever had to be like this. It is appalling. It's disgusting. It's revolting. And shut up in the background. I'm not interested in you. Shut up.
Fireworks?
Shut up. I've had enough of her. She must be quiet. I want to get on with my program. You are ruining a live broadcast. Be quiet. Enough is enough. I can't take much more of this mad woman. She's driving me over the edge. I nearly committed suicide yesterday. I went on a 15-mile walk and I really was very, very depressed. And really, it takes a lot to drive someone over the edge, but I was driven over the edge yesterday. And today she said, "Oh, well, you can invite your friend," because she knew he wouldn't come because she'd rung up the nasty bitch from the local town who seems to have stirred the pot. And now I've got all the messages about what has gone on in the local town. So my whole reputation has been wrecked there also. So thanks very much to her. My reputation has been ruined because of what she has said. So thanks very much to her for yet another nasty episode. And there was no need for the nasty episode. And yeah, well, wreck my life. That's all you care about. And now she's putting her blanket over herself and she's got her bottle of wine and, oh yeah, she'll be nice for all of 10 minutes. No, I don't want to talk about her anymore. I'm not interested. But I will.
To love you.
Oh, she happens to love me, she says. She doesn't love me at all. She loves wrecking my life. She loves wrecking everything in my life. She's wrecked everything for me, and enough is enough. You came, it's very sad. Well, there we go.
I happen to love you.
You heard that. What a load of old rot. Total pack of lies.
If you don't want it, well, don't take it.
Jules B is correct. I'm not going to read out your comment, but yeah. Well, I've been through all of this many times, and enough is enough. She's ill and she's making you ill, precisely. That's exactly what has occurred. Yeah. Narcissistic, precisely.
So what do you suggest he does?
Anyway, thank you very much for your kind words of support. It's been very, very kind. Hopefully, I won't be getting any more interruptions, but I probably will. I won't even respond now. I think at this point, I've decided I will ignore any further word from the mad person. I won't be even responding to a single word. We will carry on the evening of the program as I intended. Let's move on. So, are we nearly ready to have a quiz? Are we ready for a quiz? I look very thin. I look ill. Yep. I think I am. I think we know why. You miss horse racing. Dixie, you're very kind. That's a very generous offer, and it would be very nice. But well, I need to get away. Yes. We won't talk about this now. We might talk about that tomorrow morning if I do a program when I'm by myself. I think it's better I do a program by myself because I don't need interruptions. The interruptions have wrecked the evening, and it's not fair that my program has been ruined yet again this evening. It's totally incorrect, and I can't forgive the interruption. It's not fair. So there we are. Well, there's all sorts of ways of getting away, but we'll work it out. So, are we ready for a quiz or are we ready for something else? What happens when the wine runs out? Well, there's more delivered.
Drink water.
There is more delivered. I drink water. I drink 2 liters of water a day.
I've been drinking a lot of water.
Oh, I don't need you in the background. Shut up. You're not welcome to comment. We don't need your comments anymore. Enough. Go away. Right. Okay. Yeah, life is too short. I agree with you, Missy. Your words are very wise. Um, I would love to do exactly such, but I'm not going back to Broadstairs because Broadstairs was the past and somewhere else is the future. And it's probably going to be Edinburgh because that's where I want to go next. I think either Edinburgh or Shetland. I'd like to go and live far, far away where I don't have to put up with things like this anymore. I'm bored of this. I'd rather just go and write my books and just be left in peace. I don't need trouble in my life. I can't wake up in the morning and have to deal with a load of rubbish all the time. And that's all I ever do when I'm here. It's boring. I'm bored out of my mind of mess of all forms. I'd rather go and live in a place where you don't have to do gardening and you don't have to do anything. You just go there and keep out of it. Edinburgh would be a lovely place. I believe it's very expensive, though, Edinburgh. That's the only thing that puts me off, is very expensive. So Shetland may have more appeal because it's more remote. And I can wander around, and if I'm in a little town in the Shetland Islands, I could find a little place to live, and I don't need a big place to live. I could have a little place, and it'd be wonderful. Whether the locals would accept me is probably a problem. I don't know. They might be a bit more fussy up there. Edinburgh is very cosmopolitan, and I'd quite like that. But the idea of living on an island in the middle of nowhere it has kind of appeal. I don't really want, but I would love to spend some time with some of my friends before I go. So maybe in the summer I'll spend some time with them and visit a few people and then I'll decide. And then I don't know. I'd love to go somewhere, just get away from nasty people. I need a fresh start in my life. I need to get away from toxicity. I think I've had enough of that. So it's time to move on. Witsend says the Lake District is lovely, but I don't want to live with my father. That's where he lives, and I don't want to live with my father, and I don't want to live with my mother. I tried living with my mother in the lockdown, and well, no, you can't live with your mother. Drive you mad. No, we lived at opposite ends of a big house, and that still didn't work. So no, we can't do that. I can't live with my mother or father. No, I've never tried living with my father. I've been to stay with my father. It's not for me. No, thank you. I love my father very much. I love my mother very much, but they're not people to live with. We never really lived together when we were growing up because they were very busy people and they had very busy lives. And, there were other people involved in our lives. And I didn't really live with my parents, so to speak, much. So I don't really want to live with them now because I never really lived with them then. We didn't really live together. We were related, but that was it. I'm not saying that they were bad parents. They were wonderful parents, but we didn't live together. No. So no. You think I should go and live on Hailing Island? Oh, well. It's like a quiet Sunday every day. I don't know. I don't really know anything about Hailing Island other than it's in Essex. I don't think I want to live there, but I don't know anything about it. I don't really want to go and live anywhere where I'm told to go and live. I just want to go to. I think I want to go and live in Edinburgh or Shetland. They're my two places. So it's time I went to Scotland because I love Scotland and I belong there. Right. I should pitch a tent in Kent. I'm not planning on pitching a tent in Kent, no. I don't do camping. I hate camping. I tried that as a child when I was 10 and I hated it. I will not be living in a tent. Do I look like the kind of person that lives in a tent? Look, I know many people enjoy camping and all the rest of it. Well, I don't. So the computer says, no, won't be going to live in a tent. So that's it. Lisa says, visit me in Edinburgh. Well, if you're inviting me to stay with you, Lisa, I'll come and stay for a couple of days with you in Edinburgh. And then we'll see how I feel about Edinburgh. And there we go. Flabby says Edinburgh is calling. Well, if you're in Edinburgh too, well, we can have a big dinner. We can arrange. I can arrange a little dinner with conversation, and we can arrange a party and a restaurant and whatever. There we go. Yes, Lizzie Armstrong also agrees. Edinburgh, right? Okay. Well, Edinburgh seems to be popular with lots of you. We've got over several hundred of you here now. Thank you for all of you who are joining in. Adam works in Edinburgh, so well, there we go. We can all meet in Edinburgh. It would be lovely to have a meeting of minds in Edinburgh. So, if you would like a little meeting, and we can talk about crime and politics and woke and whatever, wackiness, and we'll do it in Edinburgh. Yes, now she's pouring more wine. So that didn't last very long, did it?
That's still got half a bottle.
So another glass is just gone. There we go. So the old one has So do you see what I have to put up with every day? There we are. So Scotland is lovely, precisely. Can I come to Scotland with you? Well, Missy, you're very welcome. We'll welcome you all. I think Edinburgh may be our destination of first, because Shetland is probably, or Orkney is probably a bit difficult. So Edinburgh is easier because it's nearer an airport, and you can all easily get there. What about Dublin? Could I go and live with J.K. Rowling? She has a big house.
No.
I love J.K. Rowling. I think J.K. Rowling is fabulous.
Live with her. She's ugly as sin.
Well, the screaming, horrible person in the background is being rude, as usual. I think J.K. Rowling is a national treasure. What a wonderful lady. She speaks for us all. She's a fantastic lady, and I don't need the nastiness of the person in the background. She doesn't whinge, and you ought to be quiet. Can you stop ruining my program? Shut up!
Well, why are you asking me?
I'm not asking you. No one's asking you to join in at all. Be quiet. Shut up. We never asked her for her opinion. No, nobody ever asked for her opinion. J.K. Rowling is a wonderful lady, and the mad woman in the background can be quiet and stop saying nasty remarks. There's no need for nastiness.
Oh.
Right. You wonder if she'll remember this tomorrow. No, she won't. Of course she won't. She'll deny it. That's what always happens. There we go. Right. Okay. Well, I want to say thank you very much to you all for all of that. We better not go on about another topic because it'll only provoke the lunacy. I don't need any more of her ranting. She's going to ruin this quiz, obviously, because she will shout in the background. Just ignore her. She's not relevant to this quiz. I will be going back to England on Tuesday now because I'm totally determined, because I've had enough. I will not be bullied anymore. It's absolutely appalling to be treated like this. Yeah, you're going to ignore her precisely. Right. Okay, good. Tell her to shut up precisely. Yep. Right. Okay. Well, your first question. Are we ready for your first question? And if she tries to join in, just ignore any remark because I will ignore. I'm not going to even respond. Right. Okay. Your first question. Coined supposedly in 2022. What does janky mean? Janky. What does janky mean? It doesn't mean dirty or dodgy, but it does kind of mean dodgy, Joyce. Yeah, Joyce, you can have the point. Okay. It means of poor quality, very poor quality. So Joyce Grove gets the point. Joyce gets the point. It is of very poor quality, but you say dodgy. I suppose that's fair enough. Okay, now we can turn to something else it's also janky. Which computer system was linked to the British Post Office scandal? Who created the system? It was shocking. It was disgraceful. You know, it was supported the post office in prosecution. Jules B was the first to say Horizon. Horizon is the system, precisely. Jules B. It was Horizon created by Fujitsu. So, yeah, we'll accept your answer. That's correct. In which year, starring Sean Connery, did the Bond thriller You Only Live Twice premiere? Which year did You Only Live Twice premiere? You know, Blofeld, the disappearance of Soviet and US space capsules. Who was the first to get it? It was 1967, and we've had hundreds of answers, but no. Cormac Wilkie gets it. Cormac Wilkie is a new entry to our quiz. Cormac W, you get 1 point. So it was 1967. So your next question is: with which sport is Gary Ringrose associated? Gary Ringrose. Right. Okay. And I've got to scroll down. It's not football. Joyce can have the point. So Joyce has now got another point. It's rugby union. What I will say is he's Ireland, Leinster, he's a centre, he's got caps, Lions, Naught, Test 67 as of now. Will Greenwood said of him, he's tough and physical. So there you go. Okay, in which year did the Savoy Hotel open? Which year did the Savoy Hotel open? It wasn't 1923. It wasn't 1909, but Joyce gets...
63.
The shouting in the background is completely insane. It was, of course, 1889. It was nothing to do with 1953. What a stupid answer that was. It was built by the theatre impresario Richard Doyley Cart, paid for with the profits from Gilbert and Sullivan Productions. Obviously, Claude Monet stayed there, painted Murders, Hotel Detective, who was my friend, who he wrote a novel about there when he worked there. Obviously my mum's friend, the lovely Kathy Lett, she was a writer in residence. They used to have lots of different female writers in residence. Kathy was one of them. Kathy is a bit bonkbuster mad, great friend of Kylie Minogue, and we love our pint-sized pop star, the Kylie Minogue. And obviously, my mother will be off to the Glastonbury in the next few days. That'll be a big thing for my mum. She loves a bit of old Glastonbury. My mother loves live music, so she's going off to Glastonbury whenever it is. So that'll be a bit of rock and roll. I couldn't stand the thought of staying in a tent. Admittedly, my mother stays in a rather posh tent, but I wouldn't even be in. I don't like any kind of tent. I will not be sleeping in a tent ever again in my life. I did that as a child when I was forced to, when I had to go and join these stupid scouts. Tents. No, thank you. Shove that up your jumper. That's something I would never want to be in ever again in my life. It's bad enough being in a house full of midges, mosquitoes here. In Scotland, I was forced to endure as a child midges. Here, I've got all these bloody mosquitoes, and they eat my feet, my fingers, and my everything else. Ghastly. I like luxury, but my mum likes to go off and sleep in a tent. She's obviously off a fucking rocker. She's completely mad. Anyway, there we go. That's my mum. So, right, okay. Right. Which leading British turkey producer invented the turkey Twizzler? Who invented the turkey Twizzler? It's a staple in canteen schools. It's of poor quality. It's highly processed. Only 34% turkey. Right. The first one of you to get it with Bernard Matthews, of course, who of course invented it. Good old Bernard. You don't like tents. That's good. I agree with you. Miss Marple. Miss Marple is getting a point. Well done, Miss Marple. But you don't like tents. Good. I'm totally with you. I don't understand anyone who would want to stay in a caravan. And my stepmother's business is caravans, awful things, disgusting. And my friend, Alfie Best, he's the biggest caravan park operator in the world. And as for tents, oh my God, why do you want to stay in a fucking bed sheet over a bit of wood or whatever it is? Awful, disgusting. You must be mental. I'd rather stay in a hotel, thank you very much, if I were going anywhere. So no, I'm not they have all these illegal immigrants in, makeshift bed sheet cities. Well, yeah, I'm sorry for these people who want who are stuck in that. But you, Mr. Middle Class, why do you want to go and sleep in a tent? Are you mental? Were you born in a barn? Were you born in the funny farm? Because you're clearly mentally unhinged. No, thank you. I will not be going to sleep in a bloody tent. And as for a caravan, you can bog off. And as for a camper van, shove that up your jacksie. No thanks. Right. Okay. In which year was the artist John Constable born? That's the next question. In which year was John Constable born? The mad woman in the background has shouted 1912. She is centuries out. She's completely in the wrong era. She's got not an idea. So she's wrong. So straight away, she gets 0 points. But she wasn't.
1715.
The correct answer was given by Who's the Snitch? Who's the Snitch? Well done. It was 1776. So who's the... No, Who's the Snitch got there first, and you're not allowed to answer any question. Okay, as a child actor, which film was Enzo Staiola best known for starring in? What film was Enzo Staiola in as a child? He was a child actor. He lived from 1939 to 2025. He was 85 when he died. He played Bruno Ricci in the quest to find the stolen bicycle of his father. He had human eyes and a strange face, according to the director Vittorio De Sica. He later became a teacher because he couldn't carry on as an actor because he was only good as a child actor. They didn't want him. So that was that. But what was the name of the film? Right. Okay. The first person to get it correct was Who's the Snitch? So you've now got 2 points. We've got Joyce with 2 points, and we've got Who's the Snitch with 2 points. The film, of course, was called Bicycle Thieves. Okay. In which year did Alberto Cavalcantini adaptation of Charles Dickens' novel Nicholas Nickleby premiere? Which year was the Ealing Brand of Sentimentality? Which year did it premiere? It was not 1967. It wasn't 1933. It wasn't 1954. It wasn't 1929. It wasn't 1974. No. Who's the Snitch gets the point. It was 1947. So well done to you. What is the name of the cricket club that is situated immediately to the west of Balmoral, the King's Scottish retreat? What is the name of the cricket club? What is the name of the cricket club? It's not the Oval. No, that's in London. It's not Balmoral, of course. It's got a name of its own. It's not the Ginger Minge. It's not St. Andrews. Who's the Snitch gets a 4th point. Who's the Snitch is doing very well. Of course, it's the Craffy Cricket Club. It was formed in 1949. It competes in the Northeastern Scotland Grade 3. Only Prince Philip was the patron from 1952. It was the only cricket club other than Windsor that's got a royal backdrop. I don't know what she's shouting about, but she's not actually.
Well, that's who he was. Gary Player.
Gary Player has nothing to do with Craffy Cricket Club.
Well, he has.
Craffy Cricket Club is next to Balmoral. The mad woman is getting even more. Here we are. We're getting mad shouting. This is what we get in the middle of the night.
Prince Philip sponsors him.
Here we go. More nonsense shouting in the background. Absolute madness. There we go. Anyway, you can hear it. It's here live.
You know nothing about.
Oh, I know nothing about cricket. We're talking about a cricket club in Balmoral, and she's shouting about me about something to do with somebody who has nothing to do with that cricket club. So, well, I think I know a bit more. Right. Yes. Anyway, Who's the Snitch has got 4 points. He's well in the lead, and we've got Joyce with 3 points. So she's doing rather well. Okay. Right. Okay. Next question. And hopefully the mad woman won't start shouting, given her nastiness about other things. In which year did Labour spin doctor and husband of TV anchor, this was my very good friend, Kate Garraway, die as a result of COVID complications? His name was Derek Draper. And Derek and I used to have dinner quite often. And Derek, I miss you, Derek. You were a lovely man. Which year did he die? I didn't really mean to make him into a quiz question, but Lois Petzold is the one that gets it. Derek and I didn't really agree about much in life because Derek was, far left and I'm center. I'm center right. So we didn't, but we had great debates and we had lovely dinners. And I miss you, Derek. You were a lovely man, and I didn't get to see you in your final years because you had COVID and nobody got to see you. You were one of the main victims of COVID who was publicly known in Britain because your demise was televised because of who your wife was. And Derek, I miss you. You were a great man, and I love you, Derek, and I miss our dinners. So cheers to you, Derek. So to Derek Draper, a great man. I really miss you. You were a great fun. We never had much in common. I don't know why we were friends, but we enjoyed those dinners we had together. So, and then you got COVID and I never saw you again. And I didn't really know your wife, and so I'm not in touch with her. But I love you. So thank you for your friendship, mate. So take care. This is what I thought about on my 15-mile walk yesterday. People like that. All my lovely friends. And, my poor grandmother who's very ill. And my father who's very old. And all the things. I've thought about all of these things. Always treasure what you've got. Well, whoever you are, it doesn't matter who's around you. But Derek, he was a good man. I didn't agree with his politics. I thought his politics were a load of horse shit. He was involved with stupid Gordon Brown, but I liked the man as a person. We had fun. We had jokes and we had dinners and we laughed. And I miss his company. So there you go. That was Derek. And I thought about him because it was an anniversary of his death. That's the only reason I wrote that down as a question. And I thought about him. So I'm very sorry. I tend to get all my questions are rather personal. This is why this quiz is a little bit different to your standard quiz book, because I'm not going to be told that I'm going to have questions that are just, something about McDonald's or something. I like a bit of things that have a bit of difference. Okay. In which year was the actor and comedian Robin Williams, another friend of mine who sadly died, born in Chicago, Illinois? He was the son of a Ford executive, Lincoln Continental specialist. So he came from a very privileged family. It was the 21st of July, and it was... Let's see. Have you any got it? The first is Linz. Linz is a new entrant. She gets a point. Well done. It was 1952. I loved the time I spent with Robin Williams. Robin was an alcoholic. Robin was a troubled man. I was flown whilst I was at university with my friends to San Francisco by a billionaire who I ended up working for, who owned Sky Vodka, Maurice Cambar. And the first evening we got there, Maurice said, well, we're going out for dinner tonight. I said, oh, that's very nice. I said, where are we going? He goes, we're going to meet my friend Robin. I said, oh, that's very nice. And we went to a place called Seacliff, or sorry, I've forgotten its name. I think it's Seacliff. We drove down from Pacific Heights to this place, and we got there, to this big house, And we get through all the electric gates, and there's all the staff, and I'm thinking like, this is rather fancy. And there's a huge dining table. It's as long as this house. It's absolutely huge, this dining table. And my friends, there were four of us, and we're told you sit at this end of the table. You sit in the middle of the table. So we did. We sat where we were told. And then at one end of the table was a huge chair, and the other end of the table. And in came Robin Williams, and he said, "How are you, father?" And Maurice said, "How are you, son?" And they did this kind of little comedy act. It was just most bizarre. And the whole dinner proceeded in this fashion. And I've never, ever experienced such enjoyment of comedy. Robin Williams was such a lovely man to spend time with. He was just a joy. And we just sat there and laughed, all of us. We had no idea what we were getting into. The second night we had dinner with Martha Stewart, just got out of prison. On a film set, that was another bizarre. That was how it began, and that's how it continued. But Robin Williams, and I've got a book about him here, and I've been reading it. It's a very badly written book. It's awful, which is why I'm still reading it. But it's so slow. It's all about Mork and Mindy, the people he played, which I don't know anything about those things. I know about Mrs. Doubtfire and all the rest, and Robin was a short little man, but he brought joy to people's life. He was so large in life because he added joy. And we need more people like Robin. We need less people like all these whinging winebags. We need less of the transgender crap. We need more J.K. Rowling's. I disagree with the woman over there who has been attacking J.K. Rowling, saying she's ugly. She's not ugly. She's brilliant. I stand with J.K. Rowling against that nonsense. But Robin was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. And it was bound to end badly, and it did end badly. But no one will forget what a wonderful actor he was. So thank you, Robin Williams. Thank you for the genius that was you. You like my quizzes because they're full of variety. That's very kind. He was a great dramatic actor. You're an alcoholic too. Well, I'm an alcoholic. I will quite happily admit it. I like alcohol. I don't do anything else, though. That's the problem. It's not a problem really because I don't. It's actually a solution. Yes, rip Robin Williams, but Robin was a dear, lovely man. I can't say he was my best friend, but I met him so many times, and we had great times at his home in. I can't remember what it's called now. It's called Seacliff. Seacliff. It's just outside San Francisco. It's just beyond Pacific Heights. Seacliff is the place. So I do apologize. I got the name wrong at the beginning. It was a sad ending. Right. Okay. Next question. So, right. What does the Northumberland... Sorry, let me find it again. What does the Northumberland colloquialism slang fettle, F-E-T-T-L-E, mean? What does fettle mean? If you're in a fettle, what are you in? Miss Marple, I will allow a second point. It's in a mood. She says temper. It's Geordie Scottish influence. There we go. What instead of ketchup or mustard does P. Diddy supposedly like to have on a cheeseburger?
Well, you know this.
What does he like to have on a cheeseburger? It's not mayo. It's not a bit of baby oil. No, it's not barbecue sauce. It's not children. He likes children. I believe that. But it's not on a cheese. He doesn't have the children on a cheeseburger. He doesn't like the baby oil. He likes on lots of things. It's not cream. It's not peanut butter. It's not ranch dress. It's not tomato ketchup, and it's not underage girls. But he likes those in different forms. He probably likes underage boys too. Who's the snitch gets a 5th point, taking you well into the lead. Who's the snitch? It is, of course, apple sauce. He, according to, he's not getting much of that in the clink, said the newspaper. It's on the side or the top of a lot of things that he has, said former assistant George Kaplan at his trial in June 2025. One juror made a gagging gesture, and he also likes to have apples kept at the entrances to all his homes. He's a bit of a strange man, is this Diddy. And, well, it seems that he's another little rat that deserves to rot in hell. So he's another apple that was from the evil tree. And we all know about evil apples, don't we? So P. Diddy is an evil apple. That is for sure true. Nobody should be forgiving P. Diddy. He's a nasty little apple, and he fell from the wrong tree, didn't he? Horrible person. Right. What? No, I've done that one. In which year did Jerry Hall appear naked in a West End play in London, The Graduate, as Mrs. Robinson? Which year did she appear naked as Mrs. Robinson? Well, the idiot in the background is talking a load of horse shit because it's a total wild guess. Right, you are all mad. You're all completely way out, the whole lot of you. I've not seen anything close other than Audrey, and Audrey gets the point. Well done, Audrey. Of course, it was 2000. 2000. So well done to Audrey. Jerry Hall then subsequently married Rupert Murdoch. And then they subsequently got divorced. So Jerry Hall is now an incredibly rich woman. You know, marrying Mick Jagger made her a little bit rich. But marrying Rupert, marrying Rupert Murdoch made her a hell of a lot fucking richer, didn't it? No. So Jerry Hall is just a money whore, isn't she? Let's be honest. She's got the money. She's a money honey. Yeah. So we're not really into Jerry Hall. I don't know Jerry Hall. I've never met her. I have met Rupert Murdoch, and Rupert Murdoch and I have had perfectly civilized conversation. She's shiting in the background, trying to ruin my program. I'm trying to talk. Rupert Murdoch, I've had perfectly civilized conversations with. I like Rebecca Brooks. I get on very well with her husband. Lovely man. I have no problem with working with Talk TV. Talk TV has been a great thing for me. Rupert Murdoch and has been no enemy of mine. I love working with Peter Blexley on Talk TV. And that is why I need to tell the lady over there, shut up and let me speak in favor of the things I do, because my work is very important to me. And I will not have my work ruined by any old bloody mouthpiece. And I love working with Talk TV, and I love doing things with the Sun newspaper. I have great connections with the Sun. I'm very happy to work with the Sun. I prefer, please be quiet in the background. Yeah, yet again, she wants to ruin my career. My career is about who I work with. And I want to say, I respect Rupert Murdoch. Jerry Hall. Here we go. She wants to ruin my life yet again. Why do you want to mix that? Again, here you are. She just wants to ruin my career.
I don't.
We've just tried.
She's a load of rubbish.
This is live on television, and you've ruined my life yet again. Be quiet. Shut up. Here we go. She likes interfering with my career. It's completely incorrect.
Rubbish.
It's completely incorrect. I'm very happy to work with the Murdoch channels, and I don't need some nasty woman in the background interfering.
What about her?
I have full respect for them, and they can do what they want. It's their channel. They do what they want. I do what I want on my channel. YouTube is my main channel, obviously. Right.
Well, I don't care really.
Here we are. Yet more nonsense from the horrible
I
woman.
don't care.
Yep, well, it's very nice that my program has been ruined yet again by somebody who has decided to destroy my life. That's all they want to do.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Ugh.
And you can hear them burping and farting and making a horrible noise. Yeah, pour more wine. Well, anyway, I'm very sorry. I can't do much more of this. But we'll go on to the next question. So, right. Okay, we'll go on to the next question. And then we'll end this. And then I'm going to bed. I can't do any more with this appalling behavior.
Come on, next question.
But you can hear this. I'm being shouted at now by her. Is this pleasant? Is this normal? Is this what you would put up with? Am I a slave? Am I a dog? It's completely wrong. It's totally inappropriate. I've had enough.
I love him. I look after him.
She looks after me. Yeah, how?
Yeah, I do.
Doesn't do anything to look after me.
I love him and I look after him. So whatever you want to say, you can say.
Well, anyway, I don't need any more of this abuse. It's just awful.
It's fine.
Shut up! You're wrecking my program, as usual. I didn't ask for this. I would rather not be doing this at all. I just want to end this thing. Okay, well, the next question is... Right. How did the ex-US President George H.W. Bush celebrate his 80th birthday on the 13th of June, 2004? What did he do for his 80th birthday? Lois gets it with skydiving. He did do a 13,000-foot parachute jump, aged 80. How much in prize money did Alfred Harmsworth, Lord Northcliffe of the Daily Mail, offer in prize money for the first flight across the Atlantic Ocean in 1913? What was the amount of money? It was the equivalent of $1 million today, £1 million today. Not £5, not 1 million, not. Joyce Grove gets it with 10,000. So Joyce has now got 4 points, taking her firmly into second place. Of course, It was the winning pilot captain, John Alcock. There was a party at the Savoy with Winston Churchill giving out the prizes, and navigator Lieutenant Arthur Whitten Brown. So there we go. Who starred in the 2007 fantasy thriller Ghost Rider? Who starred in Ghost Rider? Two people. So I'll accept either or. The first name, it wasn't Brad Pitt. Who's the Snitch? Gets it with Nicolas Cage. It was also Eva Mendes. It was a demonic skeletal biker taking souls to hell. Okay, in which London hotel in the 1950s did Lady Docker have a glass of water thrown over her after slagging off an absent acquaintance and using racist language? Well, we know people who do that, don't we? Django Lisa gets the point, of course. Django. One point to you. It was, of course, the Savoy. And there we go. The visiting American, Mr. Le Schwarzschild, was appalled. The group asked her to be quiet. She responded, "I suppose I deserved having that glass of water thrown over me," and then she stalked out. She was a real bitch, was that Lady Docker. She was a nasty old cow. I know so much about Lady Docker, and I think it's time that someone wrote a book about her. So she's on my list of books I must write. She's going to be written about eventually. So I'll deal with Docker. The Docker Daimlers, she said, I lined the car with zebra hide because mink was too hot to sit upon. She was the most spoilt little cow on the planet. She married the owner of Fortnum and Mason. She was married to a vintner, a wine merchant. She was married to, obviously, Sir Bernard Docker, who was Daimler. She got him thrown out of his company. She was living in Wales in some stupid castle that she bought with the company money. She covered a car in diamonds. She covered a car in gold. She was into playing what do you call them, marbles. She loved playing marbles on Park Lane in the hotel there, and obviously nobody else was allowed to win. She was a bully, was old Lady Docker. She had a row with Prince Rainier of Monaco. She burned the flag live on television. She was a complete nut. Absolutely scandalous woman. And she lived in Claridge's, and then she died in penury and with nothing left. She died in Paddington in a cheap hotel, and she's buried somewhere in Maidenhead or somewhere. And I know an awful lot about the Dockers. And of course, Charles Dunstan bought the Lady Shamara, the yacht, where she used to take the coal miners dancing on the yacht. I can tell you many a story about Lady Docker, but nobody really has told the story of Lady Docker, so maybe I should write a book on it. Because somebody ought to. Would you be interested in the story of Lady Docker? Would you want to know about Lady Docker, or is Docker just common and awful?
Sounds awful.
Do it. She sounds like a great story. Well, she was involved. She was from Wales, so she's pretty. Well, that's another example of.
Matthew.
We've got the mad woman shouting in the background. She only cares about people who are from Wales. She's not really interested in anyone else. I'm lying. Of course, she's not from Wales.
I love my Matthew.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, your final question, but I don't think it's going to change the results, is which Asian city goes by the name the Red Dot, the Lion City, and the Garden City? This is an easy question. I have to give a few easy questions because my Dutch friends said some of your questions are a little English centric. It's not Egypt. It's not. Lois gets it with 3 points. So it's Singapore. Well done to Lois. But our winner tonight is Who's the Snitch? Who's the Snitch? You have got 6 points out of the possible 20. So you have raged through it. You're a rocket. Well, we don't normally get people with 6 points. We normally get 4, maybe. So who's the snitch? You're either very good with a computer or you're very good at answering questions. So who's the snitch? We salute you. Well done to you. You're not the weakest link. You're the strongest link. So we don't say goodbye to you. We say come back again and defend your title. So tomorrow it's time for you to defend your title. So if you want to come back, we'd love to welcome you. So brilliant. Well done. Who's the snitch? And in second place, Joyce G. Well done. And then we have Miss Marple. Lois comes second. The Lois comes third. The mad woman in the background gets 0 points because she never got anything correct. And then we've got Jules B, Cormac, Linz M, and Audrey, and Lisa DeJango. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. So I can put a tick through this and say the big winner was Who's the Snitch? Who's the Snitch? I like your name. I don't know why you've got the name, but anyway, it's time for me to go to bed. So
time for me to go to bed.
Anyway, right. So right. Okay. But before we go, we've done 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know how we keep going for such length. I'm very sorry for the screaming in the background. Yes, again. Yes, now we're getting all the noises of the
I'm going to get up the stairs.
The mad person. Right. You'd like a Man United quiz. We don't do quizzes directed on specific topics, so no. You can have a Man United question sometimes in a quiz, but not a particular quiz on that.
I'll try and get up the stairs before you.
Right. Well, she wants to go and get herself up the stairs, so let her try.
Well, you get me up the top. I can't go around that corner.
This is what I have to put up with every day.
Well, we don't have
the ruination of my program. You know, I'm still talking to my audience. I've not finished my program.
Oh, you don't want me to go yet?
Well, you can go.
I'm just worried about you.
She's not worried about me one bit. She's worried about all she cares about, which is herself. I'm trying to do my program. If you want to go up the stairs, go up the stairs. You don't want to.
You need me here.
I don't need you. This is what I get every night. You need me. Well, then go up the stairs, and when you get up to the top, I'll come and deal with you. I'll pause the program. Thank you. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
So I will say, right, I don't know. Where are we up to? I've lost my train of thought now. Totally ruined. Yet again, my program ruined by interference. Mr. Coleman would like to send me a parcel to the La Poste Grimaud.
Who's he?
Well, if you wish to send me a parcel, please send it
What happened to
editorialsteepletimes.com.
the books?
No, just be quiet. If you want, no, be quiet. If you want to send me a parcel, editorial@thesteepletimes.com, and I'll give you the correct address to send it to. There's no point sending it to some kind of random address. That's not a very good idea because nothing arrives in this dump when it's not sent correctly. It took 3 days for my friend's parcel to arrive. She claims
He's not going.
that her stupid
He's
bank.
staying with me.
She claims that her stupid bank card was sent by
He is staying with
some
me.
stupid woman, and a week later it's
He
never
can't leave
arrived.
me.
Um,
He can't.
anyway, there we are. So Michael Barrymore has been seen getting his teeth done in Harley Street.
Oh.
Yes, well, Michael Barrymore can be seen getting his toes done in wherever. I don't really care. Michael Barrymore should not be seen doing anything. We don't care about Michael Barrymore. He is an evil, evil person. She's trying to get up the stairs and making an utter racket. I do apologize. She does this when she wants to ruin anything.
Ow.
This is what we get, this noise. So I will have to stop in a moment because unfortunately
Matthew, I'll get to the top, but you have to get me over.
this is what I get. Anyway, I shall say happiness, thank you. You've been wonderful. I've got to go because I've got to go and deal with this nonsense. It's total patheticness, making a noise. It's just every noise is just to try and wreck my escape. There's nothing wrong with her. And then she'll be down the stairs when she wants more wine. So anyway, take care. Have a lovely night. And thank you very much for your company. I can't do much more. I've got to go and try and get her up the stairs. So listening to this racket is not pleasant. It's all a pack of lies, don't worry. It's not very nice. Anyway, I thank you for your kindness, and I'll try and go and help her. And tomorrow will be another day of hell. So thank you.
Get me up here, please.
Here you are. Can you get me up here, please? There you go. Take care. Good night.